playoff opponents for the 7th time in the last 8 years, and many feel that the Montreal Alouettes may finally fulfill their lofty preseason expectations. One reason is the play of David Overstreet, who has learned to hang on to the football. Another is defensive end Keith Gary, who had one of his best games of the season last Sunday. And these two will likely pose a problem for Ottawa's George Brancato again this afternoon.
CFL 81, brought to you by Canadian Pacific, owned by Canadians, working for Canadians. By Firestone Canada, maker of the 721 Fuel Fighter Radio. And by Carling O'Keefe, brewers of OV and the Carlsberg family.
It's the Alouettes and the Rough Riders. However, this time the prize is a berth in the Eastern Final. Hi, everybody. On the season record, one would think that the Ottawa Rough Riders should be favored, having won 5 games. They finished in 2nd place. They have home field advantage this afternoon. The Montreal Alouettes won just 3 games. They didn't make the playoffs until last Sunday. However, historically, the Alouettes are favored. In the last 6 meetings, the Alouettes have won all 6, 5 of those in the final, the other in a semifinal encounter. And there are many people who feel that the Montreal Alouettes are on the verge of putting it all together. Let's find out a little more on that particular topic as we speak with our confrere here in the broadcast booth, Leo Cahill.
I have to agree. I think the fans all feel that Montreal is a sleeping giant. They've got great personnel. Why haven't they won? Well, I think there's only one reason: they're missing the rudder, and that's the quarterback. Too much was expected of Vince Ferragamo early in the season. I mean, he just didn't have the experience to do it. Now, they got Ken Johnson in there. He's put it all together. He utilizes good receivers in Johnson and Scott. David Overstreet came of age last week and certainly played his best football game. He fumbled and bumbled his way early in the season, but I think he lived up to expectations as far as he was concerned last week. Now, they've got the offense. They've put it all together. Now, defensively, I've always liked them. I've always liked their front four. They're quick. They're agile. They got a lot of experience. Their secondary now is in pretty good shape. They've got Butler and Marshall in there. Their linebacking core is adequate and overly adequate when they got Cousineau in there, because Cousineau is the guts of their defense. They rely on him. Now, this afternoon, they're going to be all right offensively and defensively. And we got a special treat with us here. We've got Ron Lancaster, the Western analyst. And Ron, I like you a lot better up here than I liked you when I was playing against you on the field. But all kidding aside, Ron, let me ask you this question. Going into a game this critical, isn't experience a big factor as far as quarterbacks are concerned?
Leo, it certainly is, and Montreal has the advantage with Kent Johnson. Ottawa's gone with a rookie, J.C. Watt, who hasn't started that many games for him, but has played well for them in the games that he has played. He's shown he has the skills necessary to be a good quarterback in the CFL. He's got to rely on his 2 running backs, Sam Platt and Jim Reed. Although they haven't rushed for many yards against the Alouettes, they're going to be big factors in catching swing passes out in this bad footing today and forcing Montreal to tackle them. Defensively, they've had some injuries with Randy Rhino out of there and the deletion of Eric Manns, and they've inserted Glenn Cook and Rick Soviet into those 2 spots. So that's going to come down maybe to the coaching of George Brancato, who many feel is the best coach in the CFL. He's been in the league a long time, and there's a lot of rumors on him. Leo, what do you think?
Well, as far as George is concerned, it must be pretty satisfying to know that he's wanted by everybody when he's only won 5 games. But as far as George is concerned, I think he's going to do it this afternoon. He's a smart coach, and he's ready.
Well, let's go down and see what John Wells has to say to George right now.
Okay, Ron, a week ago when these 2 teams met, the pressure was squarely on the Alouettes. George, where's the pressure today?
I think pressure's on both sides. It's sudden death football, and whoever wins goes on next week, and whoever loses packs it in.
Is the field an advantage to the Ottawa Rough Riders? You've played in this kind of stuff a couple of times this year.
I don't think the field's an advantage to anybody in a mess like this, but being here and not in the Big O is an advantage to us.
Okay, thanks very much. Good luck this afternoon. Okay, Don.
The field is muddy, but weather conditions are near ideal at Lansdowne Park, and we'll return right after this.
Carling O'Keefe, your box seat to the CFL. From kickoff to sign-off, Carling O'Keefe is bringing home the best. This year, the CFL features a full interlocking schedule. There are new stars and familiar favorites in what promises to be the best CFL season yet. Catch all the action from your home box seat. Carling O'Keefe, bringing the CFL home to you.
Chevy makes good things happen.
Your kind of car, Chevy Cavalier.
with your kind of ride and just your kind of stride. For value and comfort, Chevy is the one.
Cavalier with state-of-the-art technology, 43 standard features, and front-wheel drive maneuverability.
Step into the good times. Chevy makes it happen. Good things happen with Chevrolet.
The Eastern Conference semifinal at Lansdowne Park in Ottawa, with the winner moving on to the final next Sunday at Iverwin Stadium against the Hamilton Tiger Cats. And now, the singing of our national anthem with Dylan O'Connor.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all our sons' command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true North strong and free. From far and wide, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Et valeur de votre paix protégera nos foyers et nos droits. Protégera nos foyers et nos droits.
The Ottawa Rough Riders will be kicking off when we return to Lansdowne Park and the Eastern semifinal.
Now, traction, year-round. The Firestone Trax 12 all-season radial grips rain-soaked roads. Traction bars hidden in the tread pull you through snow. For smooth, quiet driving, long-lasting Trax 12. Traction you can see. Traction 12 months a year. Trax 12, the all-season radial from Firestone.
This was the standard in Canadian football, and afterwards, this beer was a popular choice. The shape of things changed, and changed. Today, there's a new look, and the tradition grows because OV's great taste is always popular.
The time is now, the move is on. Just say OV, OV for me.
The tradition grows, so just say OV. Oh, yeah.
As you can see, the middle of the field at Lansdowne Park is extremely muddy as Jerry Organ prepares to kick off. That's the result of a snowfall yesterday, and there are still traces of snow on the playing surface. The man in the middle to receive this kickoff is Don Vetro. He is flanked by David Overstreet and Mark LaSalle. Overstreet will take it at the 10. Overstreet fights out to the 30-yard line, and that's where the Montreal Alouettes will speech 1st and 10 to start this Eastern Conference semifinal. Kenny Johnson, the quarterback. This is his 4th game in a Montreal uniform. Exactly the same lineup for the Alouettes as they fielded at Olympic Stadium last Sunday in that playoff clinching 39-15 victory over these same Ottawa Rough Riders. I think we'll see a lot of work this afternoon for David Overstreet, and Johnson will likely be going to his 2 outside receivers, Billy White Shoes Johnson and James Scott. Footing will be somewhat treacherous in the position the Owls are scrimmaging right now at the 30-yard line. It's 1st and 10. Scott on the outside, one-on-one with the cornerback, and he goes out of bounds at the 40, taken out by Carl Braisley, very close to a 1st down. Defensively, some juggling by Ottawa as the result of injuries. Mike Pierman returns to the lineup, and Glassford has gone into the middle with Mitchell switching to an outside linebacking position, and of course with Randy Rhino and Stanton out of the lineup, they've had to move some people around in the secondary with Glenn Cook coming in at safety. Leo, how do you feel about these changes that the Ottawa Rough Riders have been forced to make defensively? George Brancato had to do some juggling. Will the Alouettes try to take quick advantage?
Well, I'm sure they will, Don, but I think that George's big suit right now is that he's going to mix it up so much that they're going to have a hard time trying to read early in the ball game what they're trying to do. You notice on that first play, invariably on the first play, you'll try to go deep or do something special, and the Montreal team just went short for that 9 yards that time, and as a result, the defensive backs were off.
It's second and less than a yard for Montreal. David Overstrait into the middle, and the Alouettes will have the first down as they move across the 40-yard line. It was John Glassford who came in from the middle to make the tackle. The man sitting next to us has had a lot of playoff experience. Ron Lancaster as a quarterback in a semifinal game. When a team makes defensive changes, do you try to capitalize?
Oh, you sure do. You're always looking for changes on the defense. Anywhere, especially on the corner, and they've had to move a new corner in there. Not a new one because he's played there before, but when you have to take one of your starters out of there, quarterback really wants to go after him in a hurry and test him because he feels he's going to get tested, and you've got to beat him early and make him know that you're going to come his way.
First and 10 from the 41. Overstrait, he's going to be dropped for a loss back at the 40-yard line by defensive end Jim Piaskowski.
Ottawa now was in their 34 defense that time, and that's pretty tough to run against. That's the old Oklahoma defense. You see those linebackers scraping across there real quickly. Now that's Glassford 76 and Mitchell 53. Up front, they try to get those linemen on top of the offensive linemen, and so they can't get on those linebackers and let those linebackers roll from sideline to sideline, see if they can end up with the tackles.
J.C. Watt staying loose at the Ottawa bench in anticipation of moving in perhaps after this second down play. Johnson is going to be dropped for a loss back at the 33 by Greg Marshall, who came in from his defensive end slot. That's something they will have to do this afternoon, is put pressure on Johnson, and they did.
You got to get pressure on Johnson all the time. You don't want him to stand back there. That's what he's good at. He's not the scrambler in the world. He likes to stand, take his time, look around. You keep him occupied. As you see right there on the bootleg, with Greg Marshall coming all the way from the short side of the field to the wide side of the field. They covered the receivers downfield. Johnson took more time than he really wanted to, and as a result, Marshall was able to make the sack. So that's what Ottawa needs to do to Kenny Johnson.
Did you notice on that too, Ron, that on the first down, which is primarily the running down, they went with the 34 defense. On the second down, they went with the 6 defensive back situation in there and covered very, very well downfield. And that's where Marshall came from the offside, made the tackle. So they're varying their defenses very good.
On third down, Don Sweet stands at his own 17. He'll be kicking to Calvin Kirk and Carl Brazeley. Randy Rhino, of course, is out, and he's the most valuable member of that Ottawa punt return unit. Brazeley will field it at the 45, and Brazeley is downed in the mud at the 49-yard line. And it was Gene Beliveau who was down there to make the tackle. Now, penalty flags are down. Blair Shallow, the referee this afternoon. Let's see what he has called on this particular play. It appears to be against Ottawa. Let's listen.
Unnecessary roughness. Ottawa number 66 after the play. First down.
Greg Marshall is the man who got tagged with unnecessary roughness.
Greg Marshall took a shot at Tom Cousineau coming downfield there, and the referee just happened to be standing right behind him.
J.C. Watts, the starting quarterback. However, George Brancato has been known to throw Kevin Starkey in there if J.C. Watts is unable to get the team moving. And Pat Staub has moved in at the right tackle position, coming off the injured list in place of Tim Hook. Watts swinging it out to Reed. Dumars made the tackle at the 43-yard line.
This is what Ottawa felt last week was lacking in their attack. They wouldn't throw the ball out to the backs, and as a result tried to force it in downfield. This time you see the backs come out of there, and right away Watt goes right to him. Reed catches the ball, and this is his kind of field. He's able to cut inside, gets good yardage. This is what they said yesterday. They want to throw their first 4 or 5 passes short to force Montreal to come up.
I think another thing we're going to see too, Ronnie, is talking to George Brancato yesterday, and he says after this ball game there's no tomorrow if they lose, so Watts has got nothing to hold back for. He's not worrying about injuries or anything. He's going to let him run anytime the opportunity presents itself.
Well, J.C. Watts is certainly a most capable runner, and on second down, as penalty flags fly, he gave it to John Park, and he is stopped short of the first down.
Stopped in there by Scott, made good penetration in there, made the play.
Let's find out what Blair Shallow detected, and the indication is illegal procedure against Ottawa on 2nd and short. That could be a costly penalty for the Rough Riders early in this ball game.
Penalties are always costly. You don't want them at any time in the game, and especially when you got something going.
Many people feel that with Cousineau and Hampton at those linebacking positions, that is the strength of the Montreal Alouette defensive unit. They have moved Steve Jelly into a safety slot in place of Al Dosant, who had started for much of the season in that middle position. J.C. Watts now looking at a 2nd and 6 situation. He sends Kirk out wide to the left. Looking for Gabriel and I should say Walker on the sideline. He's got it at the 45. That will be close to the first down.
Gabriel does a good job. He ducks inside that halfback out there, and when it shows man-to-man, he goes immediately to the quick out pattern, and the pattern's there. It's a little low, but Walker makes a good catch, and he gets that yards back that they just gave up on the penalty.
You notice Montreal's defense, they're playing the 43 defense in there, Ron, but they're playing their outside linebackers on an invert position a lot. I think they feel that with this muddy field that they can, you know, maybe get the blitz in there on occasion, and they can blitz best from that spot.
1st and 10, the ball at the 45. First man through is Reed. Reed gets to the 50. It'll be a gain of 5. And the Ottawa Rough Riders will be facing a 2nd and 5 play. And we'll have it for you right after we pause for this message.
Canada is a world leader in agricultural production. The government of Canada invests some $160 million annually in research, supporting the activities of Agriculture Canada, which employs 735 scientists and operates 43 research facilities across the country, and funds projects conducted by provinces, universities, and private industry. The money invested often pays off in a dramatic breakthrough. A generation ago, rapeseed or canola was virtually unknown as a food product. Today, salad oil, mayonnaise, and margarine are all manufactured from oils derived from canola. The 330,000 Canadians who are farmers know the value of agricultural research. They depend on it. We all do. If you'd like to know more about this subject, write to us for free information. Brought to you by the Government of Canada.
We remind you that this program is copyrighted and is strictly for the private use of our audience. Any reproduction, retransmission, or exhibition in whole or in part without the express written consent of the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation is strictly prohibited. 2nd and 5, the Ottawa Rough Riders at their own 50. Watts in trouble. He's down in a pile of mud and water back at the 37. Tom Cousineau was blitzing from the middle, and Glenn Weir was coming from his defensive tackle spot.
Watts didn't have much chance here. He split it out. You saw Cousineau come right through. He wasn't even touched. Cousineau and Weir both came through there that time. That's when they hit a shoulder of the guard on each side, and the guard really doesn't know which one to take, and instead of taking either one of them, he lets both of them go, and that's kind of an imposition on poor Mr. Watts.
Montreal disguised that blitz very well. They thought it was zone. At the last minute, the safety moved up, showed man-to-man, and they came after him.
Jerry Organ is punting on 3rd down from his own 22. Butler and Johnson are back to accept the kick.
Pretty good kick.
Indeed, as it's taken by Billy Johnson at the 30. He finds a hole. Penalty flag flies. This one may be called back despite this effort by Johnson, who is going to score unless he is run down by Gabriel. No, he'll go in, but it will be brought back. Oh, what disappointment for the Montreal Alouettes as Johnson went the distance, but there is a flag back at the 33. It appears to be clipping against Montreal.
Well, that's a real heartbreaker on a play like that, to lose that at this stage of the ball game.
looked like that thing was set up perfectly.
Montreal number 70. First down.
Doug Scott. The clipping infraction right here. Perhaps we can see it.
Started to the outside and just came right up the middle, and I couldn't see Scott do it, but apparently he made the clip right down there when he first got a hold of the ball. Now you see Johnson turning, and here's what a good back does when he gets a speedy defensive player like Sutton following him right there. He runs for the sidelines, and he just takes as much of that field as he possibly can and goes right to the flag and gets in there for the touchdown.
The Alouettes, rather than have 6, are now scrimmaging 1st and 10 from their own 17. They swing it out, but Overstreet is upset back at the 10. Good penetration by Billy Hardy to dump Overstreet, the rookie from Oklahoma, back at the 10-yard line.
The rush was on Johnson that time. I think it was a one-man screen out there, but the defensive end coming hard to the outside forced Johnson to put the ball in the air a long time. That allowed Hardy to react to it. He beat the blocker and came up and tripped Overstreet up. It's a good play by Hardy, but his defensive end made him put that ball up and made the play.
Ottawa came from behind in their first clash of the season back in July to eke out a 2-point victory, but the Alouettes won by 24 last Sunday to qualify for 3rd place. Overstreet is going nowhere in the grasp of Mike Raines. Raines, the veteran from the University of Alabama, number 79, reacted well and filled the hole as Overstreet tried to go up the middle. So J.C. Watts will get another opportunity to try and put that Ottawa offense together, and he'll be working in pretty good field position because Don Sweet will be kicking from the end zone. Calvin Kirk and Brazeley are standing at midfield. Actually, Sweet gets an advantage back there in the end zone in that he's standing in one of the few dry positions on the field.
Indicated by a pretty good kick, too.
Taken by Calvin Kirk. Kirk spinning and fighting his way to the 40 and into the 38 of the Montreal Alouettes. An excellent position from which to start this offensive series for Ottawa.
Now I'm kind of looking forward to Watts with that middle of the field as wet as it is, rolling out and running on those dry spots, because as George Brancato said, he might be the best running back they got on their football team.
Well, I believe he is the best running back they have. And you notice Montreal, when they run the football, are trying to run to the sidelines from the hash mark to the dry area of the field, and I'm sure Ottawa's no different. But with Watts' ability, he can put a lot of pressure on the defensive lineman.
Quite a contrast in weather conditions today and yesterday. Oh, Reed bounced off the first tackle and managed to pick up about 5 yards. He appeared to be stopped right at the line of scrimmage. Yesterday it was windy, cold, it was snowing off and on. However, today it is a bright, sunny afternoon with a temperature of 9 degrees Celsius. For our American viewers, that converts to about 44 degrees.
And we were looking at this earlier in the ball game just before it started, watching the cheerleaders down there up to their ankles in mud. You can see right now how badly that mud is hurting the progress on the sideline.
Didn't hurt Calvin Kirk as he took the J.C. Watts pass and went out of bounds. Kirk received recognition as the Ottawa Rough Riders' most valuable player at a reception on Friday night, and he indeed has had quite a year.
Kirk just went down 8 yards and just turned right out and just took that thing very easily and stepped out of bounds. Again, they're giving him a little bit of distance on the sidelines because they know he can go deep.
The ball is at the 28 of the Montreal Alouettes. 1st and 10, Ottawa. The best scoring opportunity for either side this afternoon. Watts is being chased. He is going to pick up first down yardage and more to the 10. An excellent peel back block at the 22-yard line or 32-yard line that enabled Watts to turn that corner.
Well, this is what we talked about before. This is simply just a fake run and a bootleg action right here, and he just keeps the ball himself and gets to the outside. You see Phillips leading interference right here. Phillips gets a block there, and he keeps the ball going downfield. Kirk gets a block down there, and they're in excellent field position.
It was Val Belcher who came back to throw a key block on Willie Hampton, the linebacker, who was in pursuit of J.C. Watts. First down from the 10. Penalty flags fly. More flags fly in the end zone as interference will be charged against Marshall as he belted Walker. But the initial flag was at the line of scrimmage. We'll return right after this message.
This turned a lot of double plays in summers past. And this beer was popular when the last batter was out. The look changed and changed. And today, the tradition grows because OV's great taste is always popular.
The time is now. The move is on. Just say OV. OV for me.
The tradition grows, so just say OV. Oh, yeah.
Full house this afternoon at Lansdowne Park, but the spectators in attendance are certainly enthusiastic.
Here it is right here. You see Jimmy Marshall coming in there and making contact. No question about it. He was beat on the post pattern, and he had to use his hands. That was the penalty.
It's first and goal from the 5. The pitch to Sam Platt. He fights his way to the 2-yard line.
That play is not one of the highlights of the game, but it was a good run by Sam Platt. He had one blocker in front of him and 3 Alouettes, but yet he managed to get between them and get down to around the 2-yard line.
Platt came to the club late in the season. A University of Florida graduate via Dallas. And with the ball at the 1, it will be second and goal. George Brancato at the Ottawa bench. Platt again, touchdown.
There's no mystery about this play. He starts out following Reed to the off-tackle spot, sees the hole on the inside, just takes it right inside, scores standing up. Just a play where he just uses his eyes and runs to daylight. He started out following Reed and was going to go off tackle, but then just saw that opening on the inside off the pursuit and just turned right back up inside there and scored.
So with 5:11 remaining in this opening quarter, the Ottawa Rough Riders are first to hit the scoreboard, and with the conversion by Jerry Organ, it's 7-0 Ottawa.
Ron, what do you think about this stage of the game?
Well, Sam Platt, we said, didn't rush for very many yards against the Alouettes in his other 2 games. He didn't rush for very many there, but he got a big 2 to get down close, and then he made the good move to get into the end zone. This is all they care about. The statistics right now mean nothing. It's win or go on, lose or go home, and they don't really care about those all-year statistics.
It's what we talked about before, too. There's probably a lot of people in Eastern Canada surprised by what the Ottawa Rough Riders have done here, but we're certainly not surprised. We've seen George Brancato do this several times, and they're going to be tough to beat with that first score under their belt here this afternoon.
Well, he's happy to be here in Lansdowne Park, number 1. And when you come into a football game, in any game, and especially when in the playoffs, you need to get something going early. They got good field position by the defense, and then J.C. Watt showed them how to put it in the end zone, and that's got to be a big confidence builder for that Ottawa club.
And, of course, it had to take something out of Montreal when they had that punt return by Johnson called back because of the clipping infraction. But with Jerry Organ adding the convert, it's 7-0, and Organ prepares to kick off. Overstreet, Vetro, and LaSalle are back. A squib type of kick, picked up by Junior Ayu.
All right, Junior Ayu. Junior don't get a chance to handle that ball very often. He took advantage of it. He looks like he likes running with that football.
The Alouette coaching staff would prefer it was somebody a little faster afoot, but Junior lugged it up the middle.
Watch old Junior use his blockers in here, Ron. A little stutter step in there.
It took 5 or 6 of them to get him down.
So at the 39, it's 1st and 10, Montreal. Johnson trying to set up the screen to Overstreet. He fumbles the ball. He's unable to hang on. It will be ruled an incomplete pass.
Just a little hitch pass here. He takes about a 3-step drop and just shoots it right out here to him. And as Ron said early in the ball game, the idea here is to get the ball to a fast back in an open field situation. when he knows which direction he's going on this wet field and trying to just outduke those defensive backs.
McMahon has gone to the bench. Vetro is in for Montreal on 2nd and 10. And off to Overstreet. He's trying to go outside, being chased by Soviet and then hit by Sutton. Sutton came up from his corner position and drove right into Overstreet and knocked him out of bounds. And this Ottawa Rough Rider defensive unit is certainly inspired this afternoon.
This run like a lead draw where he's going to follow his other back. The defensive lineman closed down the inside, force him outside. Hardy comes up, strings it out to the sideline, and Sutton comes up and puts a good hit on him and gets no gain at all. In fact, they're going to have to give it up in field position again.
Did you see that reaction by, there's Gabriel on the sidelines now. He's all excited. He's a very emotional guy, and he'll have those guys jumping up and down on the sidelines. But you notice the emotion by Brune, too. When that Sutton come up and made that play, he acted like they just scored a touchdown. They're really hot over there on defense.
Brought back. Kirk didn't have the success of his Montreal counterpart, Billy Johnson, but it will be called back, I'm sure, as the result of a clipping infraction against Ottawa.
Takes the ball right here and just spins right back and tries to get over there where the wall is being set up. It looked right there like maybe Iraqi was clipped, and I didn't see who made the clip on him, but I think Iraqi was the guy that was clipped.
Ottawa, number 64. First down.
That was Hook. Hook is the guy that made the infraction, and I think it was on Iraqi.
I was watching Tim come down the field. He has to turn that outside guy to the inside. He didn't have position on Iraqi, and he hit him in the back, and he got hold of him, and as a result, they lose field position of 15 yards.
They're concerned now at the Ottawa bench and on the playing field with the condition of Calvin Kirk. That would be quite a loss if he is unable to return, because not only does he work on the specialty teams, returning punts and kickoffs, but he is also one of their leading receivers. Jeff Avery will take his position in the lineup.
See that mud on his helmet there, Ron? I think he probably hit his head because his legs look all right.
Somewhere in that pile-up, Calvin Kirk goes down and was shaken up. The Ottawa Rough Riders are back at their own 25-yard line. Picked off by Montreal. Tom Cousineau has the football. Cousineau is down to the 22.
That's how a football game can turn around, Ron, as you well know.
Well, when you bring those two setbacks in motion to the side of the field and you try to throw that dump pass inside, the middle linebacker is going to be there. And as you'll see Watt step up to throw that little dump, Cousineau is coming, just sticks out his hand, tips it in the air, grabs it, and away he goes. And that's a good middle linebacker. He's got to do that.
And this big guy knows what to do, and he gets the ball, too. Changed hands and looked like he knew what to do with it.
The 6'3", 227-pounder, injured most of the season, with a big turnover. And Montreal with a first down at the 22 of Ottawa. LaSalle trying to go wide. And so far, the Ottawa Rough Riders have almost completely shut down the Montreal running game. 3 minutes remain in the first quarter. Let's pause for this message.
Chevy makes good things happen, and good things happen. Driving Chevrolet, for fun on the run, for value it's the one, for all kinds of people, Chevy is the one. Yeah, it's your kind of people, with just your kind of drive, for all kinds of people, it's a Chevy come alive. Value and performance, feeling kind of nice, with your kind of power, at just your kind of price. Yes, good things happen to families big or small, with a Chevy in your driveway, you know you've got it all. The solid style and comfort, built right for today. Good things start to happen, enjoying Chevrolet. Turn on down that highway, it's a Chevy day today. 'Cause for all kinds of people, Chevy makes it happen, makes good things happen with Chevrolet.
A reminder that later tonight, Man Alive begins a new season on CBC television. You'll be part of a special journey to China. Dr. Robert McClure returns to China. Part 1 of Man Alive tonight at 10:30, 11 o'clock in Newfoundland on CBC.
Hey, you can see this right. It looks like he's got a hold of LaSalle's face mask there, but it wasn't called.
Back to the live action on second down. Penalty flags fly again. Johnson throwing it into the end zone. it's almost picked off by Stanton. He was covering Billy Johnson, but there are flags all over the place. Sutton, I should say, not Stanton, covering in the end zone.
I don't know what the first flag for, but Sutton definitely had a hold of Billy Johnson. He was not going to let him run away from him.
Offside and interference called against Ottawa.
Now, Ronnie, right down here, we'll wait for the referee's call right here and see just exactly what happened.
Pass interference, Ottawa number 27, first down.
Well, you got that right, Ron. It was 27 that bumped him on the way down there. Well, they got a first down here, and boy, this would be a great place with that Overstreet in the backfield to run a play-action pass and try to hit Della Riva or one of those big receivers. They got the advantage of knowing which direction they're going. They've run that play-action pass this close down there on the inside, and Ottawa's got to honor that. One of those guys could get open very easily.
Especially if a linebacker has to cover that first back out on slippery conditions. You sometimes can get right by him before there's a chance to move out of his stance.
That's right. The linebacker would be covering him coming out of the backfield. Good point.
First and goal with the penalty from just inside the 10-yard line. Overstreet is piled up after an advance of about 1.
Well, I don't know about that play right there. They're getting it toward the middle of the field, but what do you want to get it toward the middle of the field for? Because you're going to fall down trying to kick a field goal. Why don't they do something down there that could get them in the end zone?
Toughest 10 yards in football is the 10 yards coming out and the 10 yards going in. And they went into a power eye set, which brings all the defensive backs and everybody else right up on top of you. And it's not really a good chance to throw that play action.
Mike Raines was the man who stacked it up in the middle of that Ottawa defensive unit. I think Roland Mangold may have some problems with Mike Raines in there this afternoon.
Well, it's a mismatch in terms of size.
Penalty flags again. This time I think it will be against Montreal. Are they ruling a catch? No. LaSalle was unable to hang on in the end zone. Even had he been able to catch it, I think it will be called back anyway.
Well, I don't know what the call's going to be, but I think Hardy was offside. You can't see the penalty take place, but you see a little bit of a play action. Johnson lays it out to the open man, but it's just not thrown far enough.
And Ron, do you see how wide open that guy is in that play action pass? That's what we talked about before. I'd like to see him get down there in a first down situation and run that play action pass. There's nobody within 7 yards of him that time.
Ottawa blitzed Billy Hardy outside. He's the guy that was offside, which means now that linebacker's got to help cover, and that's very difficult.
No question about it.
Well, it's second down now with the penalty. Second and goal from just inside the 5. This is Overstreet. He didn't quite make it. His advancement was arrested about half a yard shy of the goal line by Larry Brune.
Brune looks like he may have a shoulder or an arm that's hurt there, too.
Brune had to extend himself in making this tackle. Take another look at it.
There's a nice lead block in there by LaSalle. Overstreet's carrying the ball, and here's Brune, and he may have overextended that arm when he made that tackle. Now, when he was going down there, Overstreet could have, here he is here, he could have, as he broke in the open there and Brune made the tackle here, he should have thrown that ball out in front of him as far as he could and tried it. Well, he did try to reach it, but he was a little bit short.
And the Ottawa Rough Riders can ill afford to lose this man.
Now, this man's played exceptionally well for Ottawa since he's returned to them this year. And they're a little bit weak in that secondary as it is. And, you know, they can't afford too many of them to go down. This will require Mark Felt to come in and play full time now if Larry Brune's not able to go. I think he's a pretty tough guy, Don. He's going to be back.
Well, Larry Brune returned to the Ottawa Rough Riders on the 21st of August after spending last season in the NFL with Minnesota. He's a graduate of Rice. It's now third and goal from the 1. Overstreet, touchdown. David Overstreet made no mistake in that one.
There's a little bit of movement right here by a flanker, as you see, trying to get an advantage of a lead block in there along with LaSalle. LaSalle piles through there. Doesn't make a real good block on it, but gets in front of some people in order to get that thing in the end zone. You see LaSalle right here turning in on Glassford, just bumps him enough to allow him to break into the end zone there and beat the tackle.
With the conversion attempt by Don Sweet, we can have a tie ball game with 45 seconds remaining in this first quarter. And it is deadlocked at 7.
Here we are with 45 seconds left in this first quarter right here, and it's just like we haven't played at all. It's a new ball game.
Larry Brune receiving some attention at the Ottawa bench. We mentioned at the start of the telecast the injuries last week to Randy Rhino and Stanton that forced George Brancato to do some juggling. He has moved Cook into his defensive backfield. He is actually playing the safety position. He swung Carl Brazeley out to the corner. Sutton is on the other corner, and Larry Brune moved up into a defensive halfback position alongside Billy Hardy. Jim Eddy basically with the same lineup that won so convincingly 39-15 last Sunday.
He was fairly confident talking to him yesterday in the hotel. He felt that the Alouettes had finally come around to play the style of football and the type of football that was expected of them all year, and he felt pretty confident coming into the game.
I think if Jim Eddy was going down with the Titanic, he'd still be an optimist. He is the eternal optimist.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, that could have really hurt Montreal, that early touchdown by Ottawa, but that interception there by Kuzno gets him right back up and gives him a little bit more confidence.
Calvin Kirk and Brazeley are back for the kickoff by Don Sweet. We might point out that on punts and field goal attempts, you may see the ball shifting position. The two teams and the officials have agreed that they can remain inside the hash marks and move the ball to find a dry position from which to kick. Carl Brazeley takes it at the 14. Oh, did he run into a hit at the 34-yard line?
It looked like Beliveau made the tackle, number 76. It's very difficult to pick out those numbers, but he came up and looked like he made that hit, and it was a substantial hit. There's Brazeley is coming up there and doing what all good backs do on kickoff returns, just hitting that seam and trying to break it, and boom, up comes that helmet and hit him pretty good. That'll make him peak next time, Ron.
Well, Larry Brune was in there on that kickoff return, but we've been informed he does have some problem with a pinched nerve.
Watch this guy run with the ball now. He's going to run again. Good pursuit, though, by the Montreal Alouettes.
And they upset Watts as he crossed the 40. It was Keith Gary who strung it out from his defensive end slot, and this Gary, a diamond in the rough, certainly came into his own last week.
Nice to have somebody about 6'4", weighing 260 pounds that can run with those backs like that, Ron.
Well, I'll say that's a good play for the Ottawa offense, getting J.C. Watts outside.
That's right.
And Gary run him down.
That's a good play for both teams then.
There's the man we were talking about, Larry Brune, with that pinched nerve in his shoulder, but he's going to continue, obviously. Watts to the sidelines. Calvin Kirk escaped from the first tackle that then was taken out of bounds by Charles Cornelius, and that's the end of the first quarter. The score is tied at 7 in this Eastern semifinal.
Filters and oil, alignment and brakes, shocks, batteries, and tune-ups. At Firestone, when you come in for service, that's exactly what you get. Qualified mechanics and name brand parts. And when we say your car will be ready, it'll be ready and right at Firestone.
Now that's service.
There are a lot of aircraft on exciting missions in the Canadian Armed Forces and challenging jobs for good people with the regular forces or the reserves, pilots and navigators and others. If you've got what it takes, we've got a great life for you.
There's no life like it. There's no life like it.
We're the Canadian Armed Forces. Look for us in the yellow pages under Recruiting.
Days turn into night. Now the problem is all done. You feel that there's some good times due with friends that are just like you.
Make it a Carlsberg for me and my friends. Make it a Carlsberg. Make it a Carlsberg. Make it a Carlsberg, my friend.
Don Whitman along with Ron Lancaster, Leo Cahill, and John Wells at Lansdowne Park in Ottawa. The score is tied at 7. Statistically, as you see, the Ottawa Rough Riders have a slight advantage. From their own 46, they're 1st and 10. Reed picks up perhaps a yard. Jim Reed, the Wilfrid Laurier graduate, a big fella, 6'3", 230 pounds.
Something interesting here, Don. J.C. Watt has completed 3 passes. They've all been out patterns on Charles Cornelius. Right now, starting the second quarter with the dry side again, is where they like to work. Montreal changed their defense. They dropped the halfback deep, and they got Cornelius sitting right now in that area to pick that out off if they want to come back to it.
Calvin Kirk comes out to the right. He's working against Cornelius. Going deep for Stockwell. Knocked away by Dumars. Actually, Dumars and the safety, Steve Jelly, came over, and had they not collided, perhaps there would have been an interception.
That's a good call against that style of defense. You send 4 men straight down the field running, and then you try to drop it into the hole. But you got to remember, J.C. Watt takes a long time with it.
Here he comes off the line of scrimmage right there, and on the outside, you couldn't see it right there. But Kelvin Kirk was really curtailed as far as trying to get downfield was concerned. He got busted pretty bad. There's Stoker looking up for the ball right there, and you see Jelly come in and do Mars, and you know, as it was, it went right between their arms though, and maybe if Stoker could have kept his eye on the ball, they ran into each other and fell down, he may have caught that ball and gone all the way.
Jerry Organ shanked it. It goes out of bounds at the 40-yard line. Oregon having difficulties with that kick. I refer back to last Sunday afternoon, Leo, in Montreal, where Oregon had some difficulties kicking the football.
Well, I'll tell you, I saw him a lot of years when we played against him when I was coaching. He never had any difficulties. Now all of a sudden he's having difficulties. But Jerry is a winner, though, and you know, George seems to think he can still play 3 or 4 years, George Brancato. So, no, he may be cold out here, but he's the kind of a guy that can make the big kick that can win for you, too, because he's done it a lot of times.
There are a lot of teams that could verify that. A kick of 23 yards by Jerry Organ. 1st and 10, Montreal. They are at their own 40. Johnson over the middle, complete to Peter Dallarima. 1st down at the 53 of Ottawa. William Mitchell made the tackle. You can't afford to give this man time to throw.
Nothing simple or nothing hard about a very simple pattern. Zone defense. Dallarima, being the veteran it is, he goes down, finds a little bit of a hole. Johnson finds him. Big gain.
Dallarima went down the mud. He got up very disgusted, shaking his arms in that mud. Boy, that must be an awful feeling to go down face first in that mud.
As long as you get up.
As long as you catch it, Ron, that's the important thing.
To Johnson down the sidelines. He goes out of bounds. Another 1st down, Montreal at the 43. Dom Vetro threw a nice block out in the sidelines for Johnson to pick up that 1st down yardage. And George Brancato has to be a little concerned right now because it seems the momentum has shifted.
Just another 2-step drop there and right outside to Johnson. And again, it's like Ron said early in the game. Get it to him in the open field situation. Let him run with it. He's one-on-one out there with the defensive back. He knows where he's going, and the defensive back don't. But the field is a little bit better on the outside, but he's still got some maneuvering room.
They give to Overstreet, and Overstreet bowls his way to the 37. He had an awful time at the start of the year where he fumbled 16 times and lost 12 of them. But in the more recent games, he has been hanging on to that football.
It's almost a fake pass end run type thing. Good block there on Sovieta. It looked like it could have been pretty close to spearing in there, but nothing was called.
Gain of 5 for Overstreet. It's 2nd and 5, Montreal. To Johnson again. He gets a block from Bonford down the sidelines. He's gone.
Oh, that's all he needs is a little bit of daylight, and he can turn it on, Ron.
They showed safety blitz. They're all coming after him, and he just raised up and threw it out to Johnson. He got a half of a block, but with his ability, he split the 2 tacklers, and it's a foot race, and he won easily.
Just a two-step drop again. A throw right out there to the outside. A block, that time on Sutton on the outside. Hardy missed the tackle, and he goes right on the sidelines. That's the last guy. I didn't get his number to make the try there, but this guy is gone.
A turning point in this ball game could be that interception by Tom Cousineau, because it definitely seems that the momentum in this one, as I said earlier, has changed. Point after attempt by Don Sweet. And the Montreal Alouettes now lead by 7, and with 11:37 remaining in the second quarter, let's pause for this message.
Chevy makes good things happen, and good things happen. Driving Chevrolet, value and performance, feeling kind of nice, with your kind of power, at just your kind of price. Step into the good times. Chevy is the one, 'cause for all kinds of people, Chevy makes it happen. Good things happen with Chevrolet.
We finally opened our doors. There's not a soul in sight. We worked hard and planned it all. We hope it turns out right.
The Ottawa Rough Riders scored first, a touchdown by Sam Platt, but late in the quarter, an interception by Tom Cousineau led to a touchdown by David Overstreet, and then Billy White Shoes Johnson on the pass from quarterback Ken Johnson has put the Montreal Alouettes in front by 7 as Don Sweet prepares to kick off. Brazeley goes back to his own 7-yard line. He finds some room to the 35 and then is ridden down into the mud by Jean Beliveau. A reminder that later tonight on the season premiere of Marketplace, a look at railroad safety. Remembering the Mississauga train derailment 2 years ago, Marketplace looks at the recommendations on improving the transport of dangerous chemicals. Tonight at 10 o'clock, 10:30 in Newfoundland on the CBC television network. First and 10. J.C. Watts over the middle. No catch. Stokela was the intended receiver. He trapped it. And there's very little argument by the Ottawa receiver. And that look on the countenance of George Brancato pretty well tells the story.
Sure does, Don. He had him open. He just didn't get him the football. The ball was heavy. It got down low, and Stokela just couldn't hold it.
Well, you take a look at that on the field right there, and you can see why there's some bad footing in the middle of the field. They're trying to get as much as they can out of that mire and get out there where they can operate.
A handoff to Sam Platt. Good running by Platt for a first down Ottawa at the 46. He hurdled a couple of people en route to an 11-yard gain.
I was going to say, Don, that if Ottawa's only going to get back in this game, that they're going to have to do something right now to improve their field position. Here's Cousineau right here. The block in there by Gabriel. He plays the block off, gives a little bit of ground. He's great for this, but he'll run you down. I'll tell you, he'll stay after you and run you down somewhere from sideline to sideline.
What is it you said a week ago, Leo? As long as the ball carrier stays within the white lines, you'll catch him?
That's right. That's what Bear Bryant used to say about Leroy Jordan, his middle linebacker. They said, can you stop that guy? And he says, as long as he stays inside the white lines, Leroy will get him. Well, Cousineau does the same thing.
The measurement reveals that the Ottawa Rough Riders do have a first down. How they missed Tom Cousineau in Montreal during the 2.5 months or so that he was out. Intended for Gabriel. Dumars read it perfectly, stepped in front of Gabriel, and almost had an interception.
That's just good defense. Dumars just plays the football like a good guy should. Here comes Gabriel looking to the inside. The ball's up high, and here he comes. He's going to arrive at the same time the ball, and he almost picks it off. That's what he's got to do. They were blitzing anyway, so they're going to give him 4.
Looks like Tony might have hurt his right hand on that a little bit, too.
2nd and 10 from just across the 45. 14-7. Montreal leads. Watts to the sidelines. First down. Jeff Avery just across midfield. Charles Cornelius was the back who took him out.
I'll tell you, Watts showed me something this time as Avery goes down the field here and makes a sideline cut. Watts had a little bit of pressure on him. He showed me a stronger arm than I thought he had, Ron. He just flicked that ball, and it went on a beeline right over there to the sideline to Avery, and it went with a lot of speed and direction.
We did a game earlier with J.C. Watt playing in it, and, you know, we knew he came from Oklahoma where he didn't throw the ball very much, but we were very surprised at the strength of the arm of J.C. Watt. He gets the ball there in a hurry.
That was Thanksgiving Day over in Edmonton, and he was under tremendous pressure, Ronnie, because when you go up against the Eskimos and send everybody at you in almost every play, he had a rough baptism.
Everybody in the park had a shot at him that day, I believe. Gary Hayes hit him one time that he ended up fumbling, and Fennell taking it for a touchdown. But I'm surprised he got up, but he got up, and not only got up, but he played well after that.
Well, there was a little bit of a boo that time. I think that the fans thought that that George was going to send in his kicking team, but he really sent in his short yardage team, I think, and they're just about a football's length from a first down. They're going to go for it here.
The placement of the football was back closer to the midfield stripe, and as a result, they're just shy of the first down. The short yardage unit is in there for the Ottawa Rough Riders. J.C. Watts keeps. He'll have the first down. He was across midfield and then thrown back by middle linebacker Tom Cousineau. But he had carried across midfield.
That's their safest play right there, too. In that part of the field, as muddy as it was and as tough as the ball handling would be, all he had to do was just make the distance of a football. One exchange, just from the center to him, and let him fall forward and get that first down. That was a good play.
George Brancato was in pretty good form Friday night when we had an opportunity to visit with him, and he is still going to that ice bucket despite the fact that this is not really bathing suit weather here at Lansdowne Park, but he was rather loose on Friday night when we were visiting with him. Sideline pass intended for Avery. Cornelius covering again.
Ron, I don't know whether they're trying to work on Cornelius here on the sidelines or not. I understand Cornelius is a pretty good man cover guy, but Avery just bends out here again and tries to get in front of him, and Cornelius just comes up and shoves that hand right through there and knocks the ball out.
Well, they put a little bit of pressure on that time. They blitzed at him, and they got to him pretty good. He got a good rush on him from Gary.
2nd and 10 from midfield. Watts will run up the middle. He is going to be stopped short of the first down. He fumbled the football, and I think Montreal has recovered. They have. Doug Scott was the man who scooped up that loose ball.
It looked like a collision down there, too. It looked like Junior Ayu might have got hurt a little bit on that. Just stops back. You see that middle open up right there? He saw it just like we saw it right there, and here he comes up the middle. Now, you see that ball is held a little bit loosely in there. And I think when Cousineau came up there and made the contact that he jarred it loose.
Junior Ayu heading to the Montreal bench. It appears as though he was winded more than anything else. At the 48 on the turnover. It's Montreal 1st and 10. Johnson over the middle. Incomplete. Intended for Nick Araki. Araki's a rather imposing target at 6'6", 236 pounds, a graduate of Bishop's. He was the #1 draft choice in 1979 of the Montreal Alouettes.
He just went down, bent right there in the middle. You can see him right beyond the referee right there. Hardy comes over and really does a good job of playing the ball. You can see how muddy it is right there when you can watch him pushing himself up out of that mire in there. It's going to be pretty difficult to hold on to that ball. Plus their hands are dry.
8:24 remaining in the half. 14-7 Montreal leading. It's 2nd and 10. Incomplete. Don Vetro, the intended receiver, and the Alouettes will be forced to kick it away.
Montreal tried to just send the receivers on a go or a streak, whatever you want to call it, and they caught him in a 2-deep zone with the linebackers running man-to-man with the receiver. The ball was out in front of him. Sovieta got out in front and knocked it down.
Sovieta might not have the natural talent of many of his counterparts in the CFL, but he certainly doesn't lack for determination. You had him over in Toronto, didn't you, Leo?
Yeah, he's a great kid to have on a football team. Wonderful attitude, and especially good on special teams, getting down and making tackles. A little bit shy on a couple of things as far as mobility is concerned, but not shy on attitude and not shy on toughness.
Mark Philp has replaced Calvin Kirk on that punt return unit. He's back there along with Carl Brazeley. Philp will handle it at the 26. He is upended at the 37-yard line. 7:48 is the time remaining in the half. Montreal leads by 7.
Firestone tires play a vital part in developing Canada's energy resources. Our role in energy conservation is just as important. The 721 Fuel Fighter, a steel-belted radial tire that's lean on gas and long on mileage. The new 721 Fuel Fighter from Firestone.
The Ottawa Rough Riders will scrimmage 1st and 10. The ball at their 36-yard line. Watts with pretty good protection swings it out to Reed, and Reed is down at the line of scrimmage. The Ottawa Rough Riders, Pat Staub, protesting that was a late hit by the Alouettes' Keith Gary. However, the officials did not view it that way.
They swung it to the outside there, and Hampton just stayed on his feet and made a real good tackle out there. He's a fine athlete, and they think that maybe he come in there a little bit late with that stick, and you're not allowed to spear him. And I don't think the fans liked it too much, but the officials determined that it wasn't as bad as they thought it was going to be.
2nd and 10. Trying to set up the screen to Reed. He's got some blocking out front, but he is going to be stopped short of the first down by Dave Dumars. He had about 4 people out in front of him. However, they could not dispose of Dave Dumars, who came up to make the tackle on Reed.
He gets some depth right here and draws them in and then throws it out. And you see the lineman forming out there in front. Hampton is overblocked past the play right there, but Dumars comes up and makes the play.
Well, of course, the winner of this game advances to the Eastern Final against the Hamilton Tiger Cats next Sunday, and we remind all football fans in Eastern Canada, particularly in the Hamilton area, the tickets are still available for that game at Iverwin Stadium. Tiger Cats downtown ticket office will be open Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. and Saturday from 10 until 3. That's for next Sunday's Eastern Final, Hamilton and the winner of this one. Jerry Organ is kicking to Butler and Johnson. Again, not a good kick by Jerry Organ as he continues to have problems. It's taken out of bounds at the 37-yard line by Butler. A 28-yard kick this time by Jerry Organ. The last one was only 23 yards.
It looks like Jerry here is a little bit afraid of slipping. I think that's affecting him quite a bit as he kicks the ball. That's the only reason I could think that for him not having any more success than he's had kicking the ball is that he's feeling for his footing a little bit too much.
.6:11 is the time left in this first half. Overstreet broke one tackle and fought his way out to the 40-yard line. He was slipping and sliding after the initial contact was made by John Glassford. Glassford moved into the middle for this game with William Mitchell switching to the outside. But actually, they move those people around quite a bit in that Ottawa defensive set, don't they, Ronnie?
They have them everywhere. They go from a 3-4 to a 4-3 inside, you know, with the backers, 3 of them. Then they turn around and have 2. Then they just try to mess up the quarterbacks, all they try to do.
Penalty flag goes down. The pass is picked off by the Ottawa Rough Riders. Sutton. Make that Glenn Cook the interceptor. And I think the penalty will be against Montreal. Holding, naturally, it will be declined.
A pretty good indicator is when that Ottawa football team was halfway on the field.
A 19-yard return on this interception by Cook.
Well, the receiver fell down, and it just right into the hands of Cook, and he made a nice return on it, but at that time, it didn't look to me like Johnson was rushed too much, Ron. It's just a matter of the receiver falling down and the interceptor being in a position to take it.
Watts to the sidelines, intended for Calvin Kirk. It's incomplete. Cornelius was covering. 4:56 is the time left in the half.
J.C. Watts having a little bit of problem down there with that mud in that particular area of the field, and he's trying to throw that out, which is a tough pattern to throw at the best of time, and that mud on there makes that ball awful heavy, and he's not getting the distance on it. He threw that in a little short.
Ron, I'm really surprised that George isn't having him roll out more. You know, he rolled out a couple of times early in the ball game and made pretty substantial gains, and here he is dropping back right in the middle of that mud all the time. That doesn't make sense, does it?
Dry cleaning firms are going to benefit from this one. Pressure from the blind side. The ball is loose. Who's got it?
Looks like Gary has got it.
Yes, the Alouettes have got the football as Keith Gary carries to the 48.
We're going to get an argument right here, Don. J.C. Watt felt he was throwing the ball forward at the time of the collision, and he felt it was a forward pass, and he's talking to the official about it. But the official's right there. He made the call.
Junior Ayu came from the blind side. Watts never saw him.
Well, Watts is back here, and he doesn't even see Junior coming. And I think that's a little bit of bad judgment on his part, because when he was hit, he just shoveled the ball forward. But it was after he was hit, and I just don't think, I think it was too late. I think the official made a good call on it, Ron.
Oh, good call. On the replay in here, it looked like a fumble, but he was arguing with the official that he threw it forward.
The fans certainly don't agree with the officials. They are rather vocal at Lansdowne Park, but it's a first down, Montreal. Johnson is caught. No, he gets away from Greg Marshall, but there is a penalty flag. Johnson goes down at the 43. That's usually an indication of holding. I think Doug Payton may have had a grip on Greg Marshall, who was trying to get to the Montreal quarterback, Ken Johnson.
That's a pretty good matchup, Marshall and Payton. Two pretty good football players, and they both want to win. Both nominees, Shenley Award nominees, on their respective teams.
Well, J.C. Watts in communication with the coaches upstairs, and also trying to get those hands clean, trying to wipe some of that Lansdowne Park mud off his hands. He has been spending a lot of time in the middle of that playing field where conditions are at their worst.
I think J.C. Watts is listening to records there, Ron. What do you think?
Makes it 1st and 20 with 3:46, and the fans are still reacting. James Scott contacted immediately by Carl Brazeley, who is playing that left corner.
Well, I am really surprised that Johnson on first down, especially on the dry parts of the field where he's got Scott and Johnson, that he just doesn't rear back and throw in those deep passes, Ron. I've been waiting for it. They're one-on-one out there.
Well, right now he caught him in a zone on a 1st and 20, and they're not going to be able to run too far in the mud. So just kind of stop, throw it right at him. Brazeley made a good play and come up and hit him just as the ball arrived.
Sure did.
Scott goes wide right. Johnson is out to the left. Penalty flags go down again. Johnson is going to be caught, And he's dropped back at the 47-yard line by William Mitchell. It appeared, says our spotter Art Darch, that Mike Raines was offside. We'll be back after this.
It's got to be just right. It's got to be just great. It's a job for nobody else but me. Me and my workmate. Me and my workmate. Together, together we're great.
You've got it made with Black & Decker.
Carlsberg Light. All right. Well, it's here, and it's one good beer. Carlsberg Light. All right. Cold as ice. It's one real good beer. Crack a cold one now and see. Why, it's that light, refreshing taste for me. Carlsberg Light. Well, all right. Well, it's here. Good beer.
We've got a most interesting halftime feature for you. The coaches' all-star picks in the Eastern Division. That's at halftime. Compare your selections with how the coaches picked them in the East. And, of course, Leo and Ron will be along with first half highlights, and we'll also look at the first half stats. On second down, Johnson will run up. Gets away from Piaskowski, but then goes down in front of Sutton. Short of the first down by about 4 yards.
Ken Johnson made a good move right here by going down to the ground. His receivers covered downfield, and, you know, he's a veteran. He knows he's not going to run over too many people. He just hit the deck.
You had an interesting conversation with Johnson yesterday. He was talking about James Scott being one of the finest receivers he's ever thrown to.
Well, he certainly did, and, you know, when you talk about great receivers, they're all excellent in fundamentals, and he talks about how James Scott in practice will catch the ball and put it away every time he catches it. And, you know, these kind of guys like James Scott right there, that's what makes him good. The fundamentals are always there.
You can see them on the sideline there wiping the mud off, and while they're out there in the middle of that combat on the field and the arms and everything are wet, it must be pretty difficult to hold that ball, so they got to tuck it in tight.
Braisley and Philp are back for the third down kick. Sweet has had much more success than his Ottawa counterpart, Jerry Organ. He puts this one in the end zone. Braisley trying to run it out of there. He's being pursued and is finally stopped by Al Dosan. A single point for the Montreal Alouettes as they increase their lead to 8 with 2:07 left to play in the first half. Excellent kick by Don Sweet. 52 yards it traveled into the end zone.
They talked about Don Sweet not being a good punter and Jerry Organ being the better of the two, but you certainly couldn't prove that by what's going on here today. Sweet has definitely outkicked him, and that was as good an effort. 52 yards for a single.
You know, when you harken back to what happened to Watts the last time he ran with that football and tried to get rid of it, but fumbled it, I'm not too sure he's going to want to run with it too much. And that would be a shame as far as the Ottawa offense is concerned, because if they're going to have any success, they got to use him on rollouts and let him run with it a little bit.
First and 10, Ottawa. They are at their own 35. Fake inside to Platt. Watts is going to do just what you suggested, Leo. Run with the ball. Good move. And he manages to maneuver, I believe, for a first down.
I'll tell you, he'll give him fits, and when he gets on that dry field in there, those linemen have to do their pursuit patterns from the middle of that muck and mire in there, Ron. And it's tough to lock in there and race that guy to the outside when he knows he's going. Look at Kuzno right here. He's up to his ankles in this stuff right here, and that's tough to do. Somebody is sliding in there. I can't pick his number up, but Kuzno is scraping to get to the outside there. Good block thrown on Kuzno by Phillips there, it looked like.
Just a little shy of a first down. Second and less than a yard, and this time, quarterback J.C. Watts has it. 1:56 is the time remaining in the half. 15-7. The Montreal Alouettes lead the Ottawa Rough Riders in this Eastern semifinal. We were talking to George Brancato and asking him psychologically the effects of last Sunday's 39-15 loss. He said, well, if they watch the films enough, they'll be fired up this afternoon because they were beaten.
I imagine George reminded him plenty of times this week.
It's not a bad rushing average for the quarterback, J.C. Watts, 7.3 yards. Calvin Kirk in the sideline, spins away from one. He was out of bounds. Both of you fellas at one time coached Calvin Kirk, correct?
Right. Well, I'll take advantage of bringing him to Canada, and Ron coached him at Regina, and then he got back out here, and he's probably done his best job with the Ottawa Rough Riders. He planted that foot, and as he turned, I think he went out of bounds right there. Looks like the ref has got his eye on him.
Second and about 2 for Ottawa. Sam Platt should have the first down as he just puts his head down and burrows into about the 52 of the Montreal Alouettes. Well, they'll place it at the 53, but that should still be enough for a first down with 1:31 remaining in this opening half.
Just a straight handoff in there to Watts, and again, doing a pretty, or Platt, I should say, and a good job of using his eyes and getting the first down. Nothing complicated about it.
First and 10, Ottawa. Platt again. About the 49 of the Alouettes. He bounced off a couple of people as he kept driving straight ahead. I think it was Tom Cousineau who finally got Sam Platt.
They ran right into a blitz. Montreal was coming after him that time, and he finally got through there, and Lou Claire had to come across from his linebacker position to bring him down.
.110 the time left in the half. Cousineau from his middle linebacking position is Watts. Throws over the middle, incomplete. Pat still for a first down. The ball is at the 31.
The ball had eyes, Don. He threw it right into the zone. He split the two linebackers and hit him right on the money. You see right here, JC, a little play action to get outside. He gets it just over the linebacker's hands, in between and down between the defensive secondary, and a first down, and they've got time to get some points on the board, which they need.
A gain of 18 on that pass to Stokel with 50 seconds left in the half. Watch it out here. Run down by Cousineau.
Boy, I'll say it, is that an advantage to have that Cousineau in there playing linebacker? There was nobody else there that was going to catch him once he turned that corner, and Cousineau just scraped all the way from the middle linebacker spot. You can watch Cousineau right here. He looks at the off-tackle spot, and then he turns on the speed and just gets to the outside and just turns this thing in and just gets a hold of this guy before he can make his play and get it up the field.
It looked as though they were blitzing their halfback, Dumars, in that one.
Yeah, they brought Dumars, and Jelly was grabbing Gabriel. Gabriel was really upset, thought he was being held.
For Kirk in the sidelines, no catch. He grabbed it in front of Cornelius, but he took it on a bounce.
They're not messing around out there. This time they blitz Greg Butler from the other side. So that puts them one-on-one down there, but they're getting the pressure on Watts where he did not have the time to go deep for those touchdowns.
This is what I thought they'd do an awful lot more of last week once they started it. Kirk plants the foot here, and you'll watch him slip right in here.
Nice short hop, right?
Yeah, first hop looked like Phil Rizzuto or somebody on that one.
Phil Rizzuto?
Well, that's back in my time, Phil Rizzuto.
Well, Jerry Organ missed 3 in a row last Sunday in the final game of the season for both teams at Olympic Stadium. Field goal try. This time is good.
That's what we're talking about with Oregon there. That's a big 3 points, and that makes it as far as the second half is concerned, it makes it a pretty good-looking football game.
A 37-yard field goal by Jerry Organ with 33 seconds remaining in the half.
Jerry's saying, nice job, Avery. It's a way to hold that ball in that mud pile.
Avery told him, if he missed it, I'm not holding any more for you.
That's right. So I'm the guy that's kneeling down there and that stuff.
Well, let's see what the Montreal Alouettes might be able to do in the final 33 seconds of this half. Going deep. Intended for Johnson, incomplete. They had 3 receivers in the vicinity of that ball. Araki was there, Johnson was there, and so was Scott.
They tried to play basketball that time. They just put 3 of them out there. Johnson said, with this much time left, I'm going to throw it as far as I can. You guys jump up and get it.
That's what they normally do right at the end of a ball game when they're trying to get a cheap one. A couple things can happen. One, that they can catch the ball. Another one, that they'll be interfered with and they'll get the gain. But as Darrell Royal said, when you throw that ball up in the air, 3 things happen and 2 of them are bad. Of course, you wouldn't agree with that because you like to throw that football.
I agree there, Leo. Throw the ball. Don't mess around.
The give is to Overstreet. And he is down at the 34 or 36-yard line.
Sovieta made the tackle again.
Those are the conditions that exist this afternoon at Lansdowne Park. It's unfortunate that the field is as muddy as it is. A timeout has been called with 21 seconds remaining in the half.
A message from the Ontario Federation of Labor.
When winter winds start to blow, this is where your heating dollars can go. But Stanley Weather Stripping seals windows to keep in heat, seals doors tight and neat, shuts out drafts from the ceiling and from the wall, seals up your house almost anywhere at all. And Stanley makes it easy to do the job with pride, to keep winter out and keep heating dollars inside. Look for Stanley Weather Stripping at these and other hardware stores.
Well, the Ottawa Rough Riders called that timeout to stop the clock, and they'll have time for a play with this 3rd down kick by Don Sweet. Calvin Kirk at the 35, anxious to get out of bounds, and he steps out at the 36. "13 seconds remain in the ball game."
Well, they need a big gain if they're going to get down close for points. With 13 seconds, he's got his get that ball to a receiver and get it out of bounds. They're a little bit in trouble. They're down around their 35. They got a long way to go before you're in field goal range today.
The only good part to be kicking that football from is near the sidelines, and that is not a good angle for a field goal try. Almost picked off. It was intended for Stokwa, and it was Tom Cousineau, the middle linebacker, who knocked it down. He's playing quite a ball game.
Good range again. A little play action fake, gets outside, and Cousineau, with his speed and his quickness, he gets out there and dives out and knocks it down. Boy, I'll tell you, I can see why they missed him all year.
Well, when he returned to the lineup last week for that game at Olympic Stadium, he was gasping for breath partway through the 3rd quarter.
That was his first game. He'll play better today.
Well, Calvin Kirk made the catch, but he was about 3 strides outside the white lines. And there's also a penalty flag at the line of scrimmage with 5 seconds remaining in the half. Interference called against Montreal.
What would you do right here, Ron? 5 seconds left in the half. You're in midfield. You going to play it safe, or are you going to just try to get it down there and see if you can get some points?
Montreal, number 62. 1st down.
Hampton was charged with the interference.
I'm going to throw a screen pass. I'm not going to throw it down the field. They're going to be 4 deep as far back as they can get. You're not going to throw the ball. That's heavy today. You're not going to throw it very far. They're deep. Good. Throw a screen to somebody like Platt that's got good speed, and hopefully he may break one or something. That's about all he's got.
Not a bad call. Wish I had you playing quarterback.
For Reed, and Reed is belted almost immediately. Hampton came up to make the tackle, and that's the end of the first half. Our halftime show coming up after this.
Firestone Traction. It's why our name gets around in snow-covered forests and on snow-covered roads. Traction designed for Canadian winters. Snowbiter from Firestone.
Whatever I choose, I put it on my master. Wherever I can, I put it on my master. Whatever I need, I put it on my master. MasterCard is just fine, anywhere, anytime, for whatever I'm after. I can't put it on my master.
The day takes on a new meaning when you gently fall asleep to a song and awaken to a smile. When you can set your life to music and make every moment more special. Or capture a single precious moment and hold it for all time. The world is filled with beautiful sights and sounds. We want to help you see them and hear them better than you ever have before. Sony, the one and only.
The 1981 Eastern All-Stars is selected by the 4 head coaches in the Eastern Conference. We begin with the offense, and Hamilton, 2 for 5 along the offensive line. Anchoring that line at center is Henry Wozchuk. He has been the Tiger Cat starting center since 1977. Number 50, Hamilton's nominee for outstanding offensive lineman, has indeed formed a winning combination with quarterback Tom Clements. The guards from the Ottawa Rough Riders, the Eastern Conference nominee for outstanding lineman in 1981, number 68. You see him blocking. He's a good one. Val Belcher was also a Schenley finalist in 1980 and an All-Canadian selection. The other guard is the rookie from Toronto, Dan Ferroni, an Oakville, Ontario native, a player Ralph Sazio needs as he tries to rebuild in Toronto. The tackles from Montreal, Doug Payton, a 6th-round draft choice of the Atlanta Falcons in 1975. He played for both New England and Philadelphia. Before joining Montreal, he is the anchor of the Als offensive line. The other tackle from Hamilton. He came to Hamilton from Buffalo midway through the 1980 season. Before that, number 59, Ed Fulton, played 2 years with the Los Angeles Rams. The ends from Hamilton and Ottawa, from the Tiger Cats, a native of Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. Rocky DiPietro, 59 receptions for 868 yards. For number 23, his longest reception, 42 yards. He had 6 touchdowns. Always an all-star, Ottawa's great tight end, Tony Gabriel. And again, this year, the Eastern Conference nominee is Outstanding Canadian. 73 receptions, 1,006 yards. In the backfield from Toronto and Hamilton, from the Argonauts, the Eastern Conference Rookie of the Year in the Schenley voting, number 21, Cedric Mitter, carried the ball 182 times for 815 yards, 4.5 yards per carry. His running mate from Hamilton is Rufus Crawford, number 24, formerly of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, had 109 carries for 400 yards. He caught 49 passes for 608 yards. The receivers from Hamilton and Montreal, and the Tiger Cat is a former Alouette. Number 1, Keith Baker, acquired from Montreal for the rights to Vince Ferragamo. What a deal that was. This year, 68 receptions for 1,218 yards. From the Montreal Alouettes, he joined Montreal from the NFL Chicago Bears. Number 89, James Scott, led the Eastern Conference with 81 receptions for 1,422 yards in 1981. There is no question about the outstanding quarterback in the Eastern Conference. He is Hamilton's classy leader. Tom Clements returned from Kansas City. He led the East in outstanding player voting for Shenley Awards and led the East in passing with 4,536 yards. And now, let's meet the defense. 2 Alouettes, a Rough Rider, and a Tiger Cat on the line. Actually, a Montreal native, number 70, Montreal's Doug Scott, was an All-American at Boise State. He is strong at both tackle and defensive end. Number 70, Doug Scott. The other tackle from the Ottawa Rough Riders, Mike Raines, an Eastern Conference All-Star for the 4th consecutive year. The ends from Montreal, the 10-year veteran, Junior Ayu, the giant Hawaiian, has anchored some great front fours in Montreal. A perennial All-Star, number 77, as you watch him, has that great ability to penetrate the offensive line and get to the quarterback. The other end from the Hamilton Tiger Cats, number 66, Grover Covington, came to Hamilton this year from Montreal. 1979 and 80 played semi-pro ball in Carolina, but has found a home in the Steel City. 2 Alouettes in the linebacking corps. Last year, this young man played in the shadow of Tom Cousineau. Not this year. Number 75, Jeff Gabrielson, has been the best in Montreal. And when you talk about the best, Hamilton's number 31, Ben Zambiasi, the Eastern Conference nominee for Outstanding Defensive Player, an award he won in 1979, back strong after an injury last year. And another Montreal linebacker, Willie Hampton. In 1980, Hampton took part in 143 tackles. This year, in 1981, number 62 made 3 interceptions. The deep backs feature 4 Tiger Cats and an Ottawa Rough Rider. The Rough Rider is veteran Randy Rhino, acquired by the Riders from Montreal prior to the start of this season, a CFL All-Star in 1977 and 78. Number 21 had a big year as an Ottawa Rough Rider. The cornerbacks from Hamilton, acquired from Saskatchewan in 1979. Number 27, Leroy Paul, for the 2nd year in a row, made 5 interceptions. His longest return of an interception was 32 yards. The other cornerback is Dave Shaw. David Shaw, Paul's Hamilton teammate, 3 interceptions this year, and on September the 26th, combined with Emil Nielsen for the longest punt return of the year in the CFL, 109 yards. The defensive back, still another Tiger Cat. He played cornerback before moving to defensive back in 1980. Number 6, Harold Woods, has the longest fumble return of the year in the CFL, 98 yards, led the East with 6 interceptions. And still another Tiger Cat, defensive back, Howard Fields. Fields, first year in Hamilton after being acquired from Edmonton. Number 16 fits right into that Hamilton secondary. Now the specialty teams and the kickoff returns are dominated, according to the head coaches, by the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Steve Stapler, actually acquired from the Toronto Argonauts. He had 17 returns for 416 yards. His longest was 46 yards. Stapler, the coach's choice. Receiving honorable mention, Carl Braisley from Montreal, who led the conference, and Toronto's Terry Greer. In punt returning, an Ottawa Rough Rider and an Alouette. From the Rough Riders, Randy Rhino led the conference, and from Montreal, it is Billy White Shoes Johnson. White Shoes Johnson, acquired from the Houston Oilers, 3rd in the conference behind Rhino and Jan Carinci. 61 yards for 601 yards for number 24. White Shoes Johnson, his longest of the year, was 92 yards. And now, the most valuable players in the Eastern Conference. The quarterback, no question, Hamilton's Tom Clements. And on defense, their great linebacker, Ben Zambiasi. And the Rookie of the Year in the Eastern Conference is Cedric Mitter. Next week, our CBC Sports crew brings you the Western Final from Edmonton. And at that time, we'll meet the Coaches All-Stars in the Western Conference.
Spend a little time with Samuel, and you'll have the time of your life. It's a big sound that goes a long way. It's never missing your favorite play.
It's a meal prepared while you're away.
It's enjoying sports in a big way. Spend a little time with Samuel. Spend a little time of your life. 'Cause Samuel makes life's good things better.
I'll try almost anything. So when Mattel Electronics asked me to compare their Intellivision games with Atari, I gave it a try. I compared Atari baseball with Intellivision and found Intellivision played much more like real baseball. Then I compared Atari football with Intellivision. Again, Intellivision played more like the real game. In my opinion, if you try them both, there's only one conclusion you can come to. Intellivision from Mattel Electronics.
This is gold. And this is gold. Carlsberg Gold. A premium brew that's worth discovering. Worth savoring from time to time. Perhaps when good friends visit. Discover Carlsberg Gold. Always in good taste.
The Montreal Alouettes lead the Ottawa Roughriders by 5 after 30 minutes of this Eastern semifinal. Leo Cahill, in the second half, I think the Ottawa Roughriders might have to utilize the running of J.C. Watts a little more.
Yeah, we're going to see that right here in the highlights very briefly here, but Watts has got a lot of dry stuff on the outside there. He's mired in the mud here right near the hash marks. He fakes the bootleg right here like it's going to be a run to the wide side of the field and then keeps. Gets the pursuit here from Cousineau in the back, but Cousineau can't catch him at this time. Weir tries to catch him. He can't catch him either. Phillips is out there in front, but Gary comes over, number 75, makes a great play, and it's nice to have a guy like Gary around with that kind of speed. Now we'll see the touchdown right here by Platt, and you see that Reed going in there to lead, and Platt just finds the inside, uses his eyes, and takes it into the end zone for the touchdown.
That was a 7-0 first quarter lead for Ottawa, but then Montreal came back.
There's an attempted pass right there to Reed, and Cousineau picks the thing off. Comes out to the outside right here. Looks like he knows what he's doing carrying that ball, and that was one of the biggest plays of the first half because that turned the momentum around and gave Montreal an opportunity to get back in this ball game. Just a halfback lead right here, and Overstreet just takes it right into the end zone. They showed a little bit of motion by a flanker in case there was some penetration from the outside, and then just led with the halfback in there, LaSalle, and Overstreet followed him right in for the touchdown. Now here's what Ronnie Lancaster was talking about in the ball game. Get it to a fast guy in an open field situation, let him go down the sidelines, and nobody's going to catch this guy. Into the end zone. That was the biggest play of the half as far as Montreal is concerned. Gave him a little bit of a cushion there.
And then the kicking game, a single point by Don Sweet on a 52-yard single, and a field goal late in the half by Jerry Organ from 37 yards out. And that's the score at halftime. The Montreal Alouettes 15, the Ottawa Roughriders 10. We'll continue with our halftime show after this.
Mo Bandy and Joe Stampley headline K-Tel's Super Country 81, a fantastic new album starring Brenda Lee with the Oak Ridge Boys.
Broken trust makes a jealous.
Mr. Country Conway 20.
Darling, how I love
Super talent Tanya Tucker. The Emmy Award winner George Jones. Crystal Gale, John Conley, Lacey J. Dalton, Don Williams, and the lovely Lynn Anderson. Country sweetheart Barbara Mandrell.
Best of strangers.
Marvelous Mel Tillis. The incredible Janie Fricky. Super Country 81, the year's best. Part of K-Tel's Sound Celebration. Super Country 81 is in stores now.
The remarkable Philishave with the lift and cut system. 45 rotary action blades, every one of which has a unique lifter that gently lifts the hair, allowing the cutter behind to shave it closer. The result is a new closeness you can actually feel with your fingertips. Philishave from Phillips. Now you don't have to get wet to get close.
Well, we're back here at Lansdowne Parking with the score 15-10 for the Montreal Alouettes. We were talking earlier about the running ability of J.C. Watt, and we're going to take a look at one of the plays that J.C. Watt made very impressive for him. So we want to take a look at him, and you'll see right here that three guys play big roles. One is Rudy Phillips. The other one is Val Belcher, and then naturally it's going to be J.C. Watt. J.C. Watt is going to fake and come around the end with the ball. He will pull Rudy Phillips as his personal protector, but the key block is going to be made by Val Belcher, who makes his block on the line of scrimmage, swings out this way and comes back and cuts off Willie Hampton to allow him to get outside. So as we see right here, we'll get this thing going. J.C. Watt will make the play action fake. Phillips pulls outside for him as his protector. He gets in trouble, and just then Val Belcher shows up and cuts Hampton, and Watt makes a gain down the sideline, and Keith Gary has to come back from his defensive end position to make the tackle. This is what we were talking about as far as J.C. Watt being able to run with the football, and we'll be back for our halftime activities right after this.
At Canadian Pacific, when we started the railway, we got freight to its destination faster than ever before. But our customers had to pick it up at the railway tracks. And that could get complicated. So in 1882, we had a good idea. We took to the road to get freight to our customer's door. Now that idea's grown beyond the railway into a whole new service. Today at Canadian Pacific, we're on the road with one of the largest trucking companies in the country. But we're still speeding time-sensitive freight on its way with our new Accelerator service. Fast, dependable door-to-door delivery between Eastern and Western Canada for special kinds of freight. And tomorrow at Canadian Pacific, well, we got some new ideas down the road.
Today is Canadian Pacific.
We're proud of yesterday, but we're planning for tomorrow.
Here's a familiar shape, a beer mug. But what goes into it is very different from any other brand because it's got a great, refreshing, light taste. Tri-Light. You see, Tri-Light has 60 calories a bottle. So if you're looking for an extra light-tasting beer, make Tri-Light your beer. Truth is, nobody brews it lighter.
A week ago, David Overstreet ran with reckless abandon against the Ottawa Rough Riders. They have adjusted to the ground game of the Alouettes. However, now they must find a way of stopping the passing attack of Ken Johnson. The Montreal Alouettes leading the Ottawa Rough Riders 15-10. Very little, actually, as a difference between the two teams in their passing attack. However, where it counts most on the scoreboard, the Alouettes have that 5-point advantage. As we mentioned throughout the first half, very muddy at Lansdowne Park, the result of an overnight snowfall on Friday, and then with the +9 degrees temperature today and that snow melting, particularly in the midfield area at Lansdowne Park, where during the course of the season it takes the heaviest beating, it is turned into a quagmire. Calvin Kirk is back. He will be partnered with Carl Brazeley on this kickoff return.
Don, I think for Ottawa to win this football game, J.C. Watt's going to have to do all the running. They're not having much success getting any running room inside. They're going to have to get him outside and allow him to either run it or throw it. And with his running ability, he's going to run it a lot more than he's going to throw it today. And I think that's what's going to win for him if they're going to win this ball game.
Well, the winner, of course, moves on to next Sunday's Eastern Final against the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
Look at how Sweet stands out down there with that clean uniform, kicking off there. He hasn't got a mark on it.
Carl Brazeley goes back to his own 7-yard line on this kickoff return. And Sweet was able to keep his uniform clean as well. He was the last man, but Brazeley never got that far on the run back.
Looked like Iraqi and Hamiluk made the tackle.
Sweet was afraid there for a minute. He had a blocker coming at him. He jumped out of the way in a hurry.
The kickoff of 58 yards, a run back of 23 by Carl Brazeley. They were quite happy to get Don Sweet back in the lineup late in this 1981 season.
Excellent kicker. From 40 yards in, he's as accurate as anybody I've ever seen.
Of course, he had that consecutive record that he established at 21 as far as field goals are concerned. From the 30, 1st and 10, Ottawa. J.C. Watts can't find a receiver. He gets away from the pressure, looks back downfield, and he's got Tony Gabriel. He fumbled the ball, and it's picked up by Ottawa. Bruce Walker was the man who did a juggling act over there to
And the flag down, I think, was the ball being fumbled forward.
Right. Walker was downfield from the receiver, Tony Gabriel.
Gabriel's out there now all by himself with the roll out the other direction, catches the ball right here. Butler comes up and hits him. The ball pops up in the air. They play a little tip drill in there. Walker ends up with the football.
Tony Gabriel run those patterns in the mud, and when he started scrambling, he said, I'm going to dry ground, and he found a wide open area.
Well, this is the best season that Gabriel has enjoyed in his illustrious CFL career as far as receptions are concerned. A career high of 73. That ground game is proving difficult for both sides this afternoon. Sam Platt stopped by Lou Claire, the linebacker. They haven't picked up much yardage along the ground.
That's a good gain. 5 yards, a good gain on any day, but for today, that's an exceptional run by Sam Platt. He hasn't got big yards, but he's got some important ones, and when you got a 2nd and 5, you got the defense in a bind.
I think it's more of a 3-run, 2-slide offense out there when they're running with that ball.
It works better that way.
Platt again. There's a penalty flag in the play. Platt was unable to break the tackle over on the far side of the field. Sutton was the man who pulled him down. Let's correct that. Marshall is the man who made the tackle. Jim Eddy took over this Montreal club late in the season after Joe Scannella was fired.
Jim Eddy's main purpose right here is to get these Ottawa Rough Riders stopped, because he knows how important it is to get that first blood in this 3rd quarter. That could set the tone for the rest of the ball game, and he's got himself a lead now, and he wants to make sure that he holds on to it.
First blood?
Better watch that first blood, huh?
Let's listen to Blair Shallow.
Side, Montreal number 77, first down.
Junior IU offsides.
A first down at midfield for the Ottawa Rough Riders. Well, actually, in that slop in the midfield area, they position the ball at the 54 of Ottawa. 13-18, the time left to play in this 3rd quarter. Watts throwing deep for Stokely. It's picked off by Butler. Greg Butler went up in front of Stokely at the 25 and picked off the J.C. Watts pass. A very important turnover for Montreal.
That was a sensational play by Butler. It looked, for all intent and purposes, like Stokely was open on the play.
He wasn't open on the play.
It wasn't a badly thrown ball either. A good block on the outside there, and he got his full arm into the throw and let it go. Just an outstanding play by Butler.
Back to live action. 1st and 10, Montreal. Sideline pattern. The pass is complete over there. James Scott called it in, and there's the man who intercepted the pass, Greg Butler. Had a number of big seasons with the Edmonton Eskimos before moving to Montreal this year.
He's a good football player. He played really well for the Eskimos, and he's playing well for the Alouettes.
And they missed him a lot, Ron, when he wasn't in there earlier in the season. They get he and Jimmy Marshall back in there in the backfield, and it's really helped them a lot in their defensive secondary.
2nd and about 3. Ian Mofford into the ball game. McMahon is out. Oh, there's just no running room for the Montreal Alouettes.
No, the man that made that play was Larry Brown, coming from that outside on a blitz, forced Overstreet back into the pile where he didn't want to have to go. And then the Ottawa Rough Riders come up and put the stops on him right now.
You know who would have got that tackle if Bruin didn't? George Brancato. He was halfway out of the field. George was playing secondary safety on that one. I think maybe you could, I don't know that you can see George coming out here or not. But he was making the call that time. Not far enough.
George has a tendency at times to get a little excited on those sidelines.
The Iceman.
Don Sweet stands back at his own 15-yard line.
He's holding the ball up.
He really stands out, doesn't he, with that clean white uniform as we look at it from the end zone. Another excellent kick by Sweet. Braisley back to his own 26. And I think he tripped over one of his own men at about the 30-yard line. 11:45 is the time left to play in the third quarter.
It was here. In 1885, I drove the last fight for Canadian Pacific. Ah, these mountains were a costly obstacle then, and they still are. But we've constantly improved the capacity of this line anyway, with expensive projects like this 5-mile tunnel here. But now we foresee the limits of our capacity in the future. So we'll have to reduce the slope of that track from about 2 feet per 100 to only 1 foot. And that small change will readily handle traffic forecast to the end of this century. And we'll use fewer locomotives and less fuel, too. It's a simple solution, you say. Aye, well, but it requires a new tunnel almost 9 miles long under yon mountain. Ah, well, at Canadian Pacific, progress demands that we do it. But, oh, the cost of progress.
Today is Canadian Pacific.
We're proud of yesterday, but we're planning for tomorrow.
Canada with 1,126,650 square kilometers of commercially production timberland must import wood from the United States and pulpwood from as far away as South Africa. Eric Malling reports on the problems in our forest industry Tuesday on the 5th Estate. A 53-yard punt by Don Sweet as Ottawa's J.C. Watts goes down at the 28. He was caught by Keith Gary, the defensive end. Excellent lateral pursuit by Gary.
Rolling out to the outside. He hesitates just a moment here looking downfield, which isn't a bad indication, but right there he gives Gary a chance to get out and get on him. When you got that Gary and that Kuzno, number 45, running you down, you're not going to go too far.
2nd and 15 Ottawa. The Rough Riders back at their own 27. Watts finds Gabriel at the 35. However, he is a good 7 yards away from a first down. Lou Clare, the linebacker, with help from Butler, came in to combine talents in stopping Big Gabe, who has indicated that this will be his last season.
I'll tell you, if Oregon doesn't get a good punt right here, it could be, you know, sad news as far as Ottawa is concerned, because Montreal can come up with some pretty good field position, and I'm still waiting for him, Ron, on that first down, to let that ball go to one of those fast outside receivers. They've been playing the short game all afternoon now. It's about time to let one go.
Yeah, sooner or later they got to come up. They're sitting pretty deep right now. They're afraid of that deep one. That hurts you. You give them the short ones, and they're sitting deep, so I don't know whether they're going to ever go to it.
Oregon has had some difficulties with his last 2 kicks. One traveled 23 yards, the other 28. Oh, he almost had that driven right into him. Cousineau was coming up the middle, and he almost drove Carl Braisley right back into the kicker, Jerry Organ. The fans reacted, feeling there was contact, and there are flags flying in the vicinity of the catch.
Well, they came after this one, and Jerry's very determined and maybe a little bit too deliberate right there. I think the official, I think, thought that the blocker may have knocked the rusher into Oregon. That's the only way they could have construed it, because there was definitely contact made. They're going to come with the big pass, George. Just in 1 second here.
Penalty against the Ottawa Rough Riders on the return, and it's first down Montreal at the 50 of Ottawa. Johnson setting up, throwing for Johnson. First down at the 35. Glassford protesting that he did not make the catch, and Johnson hands the football to the official and said, "I got it."
He made the catch. That was a good catch. Johnson's back to throw. Johnson's just coming across the field versus his own defense. He leads it out and gets it down low, and Billy Johnson goes down nice and low and catches it into his chest, and he makes the big first down.
He's well under control on this one here and concentrating all the way, and goes down. No question he catches the ball. Glassford didn't like it, but he caught it.
First down from the 35.
There it is.
Deep for Scott. He can't catch up with it.
That's the one I've been talking about all afternoon. He just threw it too deep. But that'll make Brazeley a little bit aware of that outside cut now. They'll have that short pass out there to the sidelines under control now for a while.
Scott came down the field and gave him a little move like he was going to go inside, and Brazeley took it, and then he just went by him. And Kenny Johnson would sure like to have that throwback.
Oh, would he ever?
I think he had to throw a little sooner than he really wanted to.
I'll tell you one thing, I never saw Lancaster ever miss a pass like that.
Talk to his receivers. Second and 10. Montreal at the Ottawa 35. 9:08 left in this third quarter. Johnson to the sidelines. Ian Mofford will get the first down. John Glassford and John Sutton came over to stop Mofford, who began this season with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Was claimed by Montreal late in the year.
He started in Montreal. He's a Montreal kid, and pound for pound and day in and day out, he earns his keep. He'll go after you on kickoffs and kickoff returns. He's a good blocker. He's a good special teams guy. And that was a key catch right there, too.
First and 10 at the 23. Johnson tried to swing it out to Overstreet, but he was ducked. And perhaps it's a good thing he didn't throw it Overstreet, because Hardy was waiting for the interception.
Mike Raines made the penetration. I'll tell you, he's hard to throw over. And probably when he looked up and saw that big number 79 there, he thought he better hold on to the ball, and Raines had the penetration, made the sack.
You bet he's hard to throw over. I made him famous one day here, too. He came in on like that, and I tried to throw over top him. He batted it up in the air, ran over top me, caught it, and went 20 yards for a touchdown.
Oh, I never saw anything like that ever happen to you, Ron.
You didn't see me playing Lansdowne Park, right?
Raines is a big one and a good one. 6'6", 265 pounds, out of the University of Alabama. Second and 20. Johnson had that one deflected at the line of scrimmage, I believe, or it may have slipped out of his rather muddy hand.
It was deflected, Don.
Marshall, I think, may have got a hand up in front of that throw.
Well, he had Scott open. Watch Scott going downfield here. Scott made his move to the inside. He was wide open. He took a little crack right there, right in the mouth. But the ball was badly thrown. He tried to get back and slipped. He never would have slipped if the ball was thrown well, but it was deflected.
He didn't want to land in that mud either.
That's right. He's going to go and change his uniform again. Somebody's going to get Sweet now. He's too clean out there, and if nobody else gets him from the Ottawa team, one of his players is going to knock him down. They're not going to allow him to be that clean all through the ball game.
Well, Jerry DiTilio hasn't got any dirt in his uniform either. There are Alouette supporters in attendance at Lansdowne Park this afternoon. The fans are reacting, sending up a chorus of boos. Here's the kick by Sweet. It's wide. Brazeley in the end zone is going to concede the single point. 7:03 is the time left in the third quarter. It's now 16-10 in favor of the Alouettes. We'll be back right after this.
At Canadian Pacific, we've been navigating around the world for a long time. But during the Second World War, we helped airmen of the Commonwealth Air Training Plan find their way around. With the RCAF, we operated 6 schools training air navigators. And the 3/4 of all those trained in Canada during the war graduated from these schools.
Today is Canadian Pacific.
We're proud of yesterday, but we're planning for tomorrow.
Well, John Wells is with us this afternoon and standing at the Montreal bench. It's a little muddy down there, John.
Well, I managed to keep most of my uniform clean this afternoon, Don, but no question it's muddy. As you see, only a few of the Montreal Alouettes. Ken Johnson actually hasn't been too dirtied up this afternoon, but there's quite a change in attitude in this Montreal team as a result of their play today.
Yes, I'm inclined to agree with you, John. They were a confident group as they headed out to the ballpark from their downtown hotel earlier today. Walker on the receiving end of that throw from quarterback J.C. Watts.
Again, showing a real strong arm as he throws it out there, and Walker ducks under the tackler right here, almost makes the first down. Actually, he did make the first down. Excellent play of getting that extra yardage necessary.
Don, I think we can safely say Ottawa wants to throw out patterns on Cornelius. That seems to be where they've gone all day.
They've sure been working that area, haven't they? Calvin Kirk will be working against Cornelius here. There's the pass to Stokely as they ran a crossing pattern.
Good play right there. They anticipated blitz, and they got a blitz, and they just ran the two receivers down and crisscrossed them. Some people like to call it a pick. The ball's on the money to Stokely, and they got another first down.
I don't know whether J.C. Watts can make a living with throwing that long sideline pass or not, Ron. I think if he keeps throwing it in there, he might just get himself in trouble, but he's completed 2 for first downs back-to-back here.
You're always flirting with danger.
That's right.
A gain of 11 on that completion to Stokely. 1st and 10 from the 54 of Montreal. Inside with Platt. He has 1, maybe 2.
There's Billy Whiteshoes on the sidelines right there. He's made a great contribution to this football team. He and Scott, has been mentioned before, are 2 of the top receivers, most dangerous in the league.
Second and 9 for Ottawa. 5:37 left in the 3rd quarter.
Good looking screen. Everybody getting picked up.
He's going to be stopped short of the first down.
Well, I'm going to tell you, Don, that was a good-looking screen with 3 blockers out in front. And I think Reed was a little bit slow in getting that thing underway because it looked to me like he should have had a lot more yardage on it than that. Watt drops deep to draw in the defense and gives the ball out. Now look at 3 blockers in front of him. This is one of those Aston and Gas. Well, I think it was Cousineau, number 45, and 3 people out there bypass Cousineau, and he ends up with the tackle. Can you believe that?
I'll tell you this, David Dumars, twice today now, has taken that big runner on Reed, and he has stopped him in his track and forced him back, and he did it again.
Was that Dumars?
Well, Cousineau got him by the leg, but he's going to fall forward, and Dumars hits him, straighten him right back up. He's not big enough to take that guy on. Somebody better tell him that.
Yeah, well, somebody forgot to tell him because he's doing it.
The fans didn't react favorably when George Brancato sent in his putting unit on this 3rd down play. It's 3rd and, well, almost 2 yards.
Ron, speaking of fans, do you know where the word fan originated?
Nope.
How about you, Don?
I haven't got a clue. Tell us, Leo. I know you're waiting to tell us. Billy Whiteshoes Johnson breaks 1 tackle. Still on his feet and out to the 23, but it may be called back. There's another flag back at the 5-yard line. Leo, I know you're anxious to tell us. Where did it originate?
No, this is a fact. I know fanatics is right. I never knew that, but it's a true origination from the word fanatics. Well, I'll watch this guy in terms of balance. It looked like number 18 there, Vetro. May have made the clip. I'm not sure though.
Oh, that face mask there too.
You got him in the helmet. That's
watch
great.
This, watch this run though. On his feet and just keeps going. It's just unbelievable that he could stay on his feet that long. If there wasn't the sidelines there, he'd still be running.
The clipping infraction negates a determined run back by Billy Whiteshoes Johnson. The Alouettes are now back at their own 4. Sideline pattern at the 11-yard line.
I'll tell you, that's a second hit that he made this afternoon that rattled their teeth.
Johnson taken out of bounds by Sutton after a gain of about 7.
Nothing artistic about it, just a regular sideline cut. Excellent catch, concentration on the ball, but I'll tell you one thing, he's got a sore back if he gets hit that way very often.
2nd and 4. This is a first down. Ian Mofford to the 22-yard line.
That's just good read by Kenny Johnson. They've been going to the outside to Billy Whiteshoes Johnson, and their inside receivers running the same kind of pattern. This time, Sovietter tries to get out there. You look right here. Johnson comes back. It looks like a replay of the other one. He looks outside. Sovietter goes out underneath it and opens up the inside receiver. That's a good read by the quarterback.
Glassford almost got there, but wasn't there in time. That was Glassford's job to get out there and cover up for Sovietter, who went to the outside.
They've moved from their own 4 with a first down at the 22.
Gotta let it go.
Looking for Scott. It's picked up by Hardy. Billy Hardy comes up with the interception back at his own 39.
Well, it's a streak pattern going on the sidelines. He just looks like he throws the ball as far as he can. But an outstanding job of going to the ball by Hardy. Scott very alertly grabs a hold of him and impedes his progress right here. And then Iraqi gets down there and finishes him off. But it's like Ron, like you said, those defensive backs are playing back pretty deep, and they're going to have a hard time throwing deep on them.
Pass knocked down. Junior Ayu batted the pass down. It was intended for Sam Platt. 2:47 is the time left in the third quarter. Let's pause for this message.
In 1891, the Empress of Japan, one of our first steamships at Canadian Pacific, proudly bore this figurehead. In those days, our ships were fueled by coal, but today they're diesel-powered. And of course, that means fuel economy is a vital necessity. That's why we're building ships with some rather significant fuel-saving improvements. They'll have a new hull design to allow the ship to move through the water with less resistance. They'll have larger propellers so we can use advanced fuel-efficient slow-running engines. And we're researching these techniques for adaptation to other ships of our fleet. At Canadian Pacific, we're trying to squeeze the last drop of efficiency out of our fuel oil, just like you are. And if we still had ships' figureheads today, ours might look something like this.
Today is Canadian Pacific.
We're proud of yesterday, but we're planning for tomorrow.
Next Saturday on CBC Sports Weekend, Canada Cup Volleyball from Winnipeg and the World Cup of Amateur Boxing from Montreal. Exciting sports action next Saturday at 3 o'clock Eastern Time. Sports Weekend with host Ernie Afaganis. Second down, Ottawa. The pass over the middle, incomplete, intended for Stoka. Greg Butler was all over him. Stoka protesting and getting some support from the fans that he was interfered with, but no flag on the play.
I think Greg Butler got his hand on the ball first from up here.
Well, there's the pass right there. It's pretty difficult to see on there. If he got his hand on the ball first, you might be right, but boy, it looked like he made a little contact there too. You get another look at it right here. I'll tell you, that's a tough looking play. I'd hate to have to call that one.
I was right. The referee didn't call interference.
There's several thousand people up here in the stands that wouldn't agree with you, though.
Johnson and Butler are back for the third down kick by Jerry Organ.
Almost hit that seam. Ward made the tackle, but he almost hit that seam, and if he got up inside there, they almost overrun the coverage that time.
Well, Johnson has not white shoes this afternoon, I can assure you of that. That is not Billy Johnson. That's Glenn Weir at the bench.
Don, it's rather interesting. Johnson down here this afternoon has got one of the equipment men taking pretty good care of him, cleaning off his sweater and cleaning off his shoes, just so you guys will be able to see his number.
Seeing some of those numbers is getting rather difficult at this point in the ball game, particularly as they slog away in the middle of the field. Mark LaSalle at the 45. A gain of about 3. Billy Hardy was the man who put the grab on Mark LaSalle.
I'll tell you, Hardy is playing some pretty good football, Ron. His coverage out here is good, right? I'll tell you, he's made some big plays out here, made some fine open field tackles, and his coverage has been good.
I got Kevin Starkey warming up, Leo, as a coach. What do you think? You make to change?
Well, I don't know. Under these circumstances, the field as wet as it is, Starkey's got to throw the ball from a drop back, and I don't know that he's got the footing in there or not in the middle of the field. Not like if they're going to win, they got to get Watts on the outside.
Johnson throwing it up, incomplete. Overstreet tried to make the catch as he was falling backwards. Hardy came up and tried for the interception and claimed he did get the ball, but he did not.
Well, Johnson rolls out here, and he just gets the ball just over the head here of Mitchell and lays it in there. But you see, Overstreet there loses his balance, or I think he could have made the catch. It was a good job there of guiding that ball in there under very adverse, difficult situation by Johnson.
He had good coverage. All three of his receivers on that side of the field was open. That's why Kenny had to roll so far to the sideline. He didn't have anywhere to throw the ball, and finally Overstreet just turned up to give him help with it. Just threw it a little too far. Fans naturally thought there was an interception, but it hit the ground.
47 seconds the time left in this third quarter. It's 16-10. Montreal in front of the Ottawa Rough Riders.
See whether they're going to come on this or no. They're going to set up a return over to the right.
Taken on the run by Kirk. And Kirk is brought down at the 40-yard line. They had no opportunity to set things up. Good coverage by the Montreal Alouettes with 26 seconds left in the third quarter.
There's very, very little wind factor out here this afternoon. With the exception of the bad condition in the middle of the field, it's been an excellent day to play football, Ron.
I'll tell you what, you can play in a lot worse weather than this is today. This is an ideal day to play football. It's just too bad the field's in the condition, but everything else is just perfect.
It sure is, and you know, if they can get on the sidelines, that's not even bad, but right there in the middle of the field, it's about as bad as you want to get.
This is the same position that Ottawa took over on their last offensive series. Same type of attack. The pass to Stokwa, very close to a first down.
Look at this on the sidelines.
Running through a car wash.
Guess who it is?
That's 41. That's Keeble.
I think it's Keeble. You're right.
But you know,
you can tell by the helmet number, but nowhere else.
You say an offensive lineman shouldn't have all that mud on his back and have a clean front. That's not a good sign, though.
Always remember this: if the offensive linemen have it on their back, just so the quarterback doesn't have it on his back.
Second and inches for Ottawa, and J.C. Watts gets those inches. And that should be the final play of the third quarter. We'll be back with the final 15 minutes of this Eastern semifinal after this.
In 1928 at Canadian Pacific, we knew that service was the name of the game. So we picked up the latest Paris fashions from a ship in the St. Lawrence River and rushed them to Toronto by air. It took only 32 hours. Well, maybe we were a little ahead of our time in 1928. But today, speeding air cargo on its way is a very big part of our business at Canadian Pacific. From hard goods to perishables, from wildlife to still life. We'll jet your freight across Canada or across the world. And the latest Paris fashions? Just give us a call. Today's Canadian Pacific.
We're proud of yesterday, but we're planning for tomorrow.
The cars they said North America would never build are at your Pontiac dealers today.
Pontiac J.
The sleek 1982 J2000 three-door hatchback, part of a new series of front-wheel drive Pontiacs. Quality that we feel stacks up against any competitive small car anywhere in the world.
Pontiac J2000. Nobody's got it like Pontiac.
You got it, Pontiac.
It's close on the scoreboard. It's also close statistically. The Ottawa Rough Riders trying to erase that 6-point deficit. They are first down to start the fourth quarter. Sideline pattern intended for Gabriel, incomplete. He was being covered by Dumars.
One more like that, and you'll see Starkey warming up again over there.
Dangerous throw right there. He threw into the zone coverage. He had a man in front of Gabriel and a man behind him, and he's very fortunate
that
right there.
again.
You betcha.
Right. That's not bad, Darrell. Okay.
There's Starkey, number 2, over the sidelines with the cape on. Sideline cape, throwing the ball a little bit. The windbreaker.
2nd and 10. Watts throwing deep. He's got Avery open. He's got it. What a throw by J.C. Watts on the run. And guess who they worked on? Number 6, Charles Cornelius.
He's just running for his life back here. Starts to the outside. He's got a personal interference in front of him in case he can run right there. Nice block made there. I couldn't tell whether it was 65 or 55. Ball is thrown perfectly over the shoulder, and Avery makes a great catch. I'm not too sure that Avery couldn't have stayed in bounds after he caught that ball low.
That's a great throw right there. He was off balance when he let it go, and he threw it a long way, right on the money.
A gain of 45 on that pass to Avery. His 2nd catch of the day. New life at Lansdowne Park. The pass intended for Gabriel. Again, Dumars was covering. There is a penalty flag in the Montreal end zone.
That might have been a pick.
Interference is called against Montreal.
Good call.
Number 6.
Well, Ken Johnson pacing back and forth.
After interference, Montreal, number 6. First down.
Charles Cornelius charged with interference.
He wouldn't let the receiver inside. He just had a hold of him and kept shoving him. He wasn't going to let him in there. At least 10, 15 yards downfield when he did that.
It's 1st and goal from the 6. Watts is going to run it. Oh, he fumbled the football, but it went out of bounds.
A real good hit over there by Dumars. And Gary strung it out and threw his body at him. It looks like a couple guys are down hurt there a little bit on the sidelines.
Watts took quite a hit. And Gary was also shaken up in the play.
This is a preordained run. He doesn't look like he has any intention of throwing. He's got a good block out there by Belcher. There he is, really upended there by Dumars.
Dumars has done some hitting in this game this afternoon. It's 2nd and goal from the 2. The pitch to Sam Platt, trying to get outside. He loses a yard.
Another fantastic play by Dumars in support.
The guy that made that play is Cousineau. Came around from his middle linebacker position. It looked from up here like he was going to walk into the end zone. Cousineau got his hand on him, and he just decked him, Dumars.
Well, you watch Cousineau come from the middle linebacker spot, as Ron just said here. Gets contact there, and then when he made contact, Dumars put the shoulder to him.
Well, Jim Eddy has to breathe a sigh of relief at that Montreal bench with his defensive unit coming up with that goal line stand. And now a field goal attempt by the Ottawa Rough Riders' Jerry Organ. I think they'd be quite happy to relinquish 3 here. It looked as though Ottawa was going in for 6. 12:48 is the time left in the game.
Avery holding the ball. He must be a little bit apprehensive about the way Oregon's been kicking, but it was right through there.
Now it's just a 3-point spread. .39 the time left in this football game. The winner will move on to the Eastern Final against Hamilton. Montreal will scrimmage 1st and 10 from the 35 when we return.
GMC is a big name in trucks with a lot behind it.
Like the new GMC C1500 pickup, which offers a new optional 6.2-liter diesel engine designed exclusively for trucks. And GMC's new S15, the Little Rig, with a standard 4 or available with an optional V6 engine that can deliver economy and be quick about it. GMC, the name tells you right up front, trucks are what we're all about.
Great tasting beer we got here. Gold 45 beer. Great tasting beer we got here.
Well, next Sunday on CBC television, we'll present the CFL Western Division Final. All the action and excitement of CFL playoff action from Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton as the Eskimos entertain either the Winnipeg Blue Bombers or the British Columbia Lions. That's next Sunday on the CBC television network, the Western Final at 4 o'clock Eastern Time from Edmonton's Commonwealth Stadium.
It's the first time around I've seen him in this formation this afternoon. Almost picked it off.
Graisley almost picked that one off. That was 6 if he stepped in front of that one.
They're in an ace backfield here with 2 receivers on each side. He just steps out, fakes the quick hitch, and then comes back and looks like he's going to go deep and then comes back again, and the ball's thrown out there, and Graisley is in position where he almost intercepted that ball. Right now, Montreal has got to play for field position if they expect to win this ball game. Move the ball to the middle of the field, kick with them, and get them down in there and hold them. As far as Ottawa is concerned, they've got to hold them down here and get their own field position.
2nd and 10, Montreal. Overstreet up the middle for a gain of about 3, but the Owls will kick it away. Greg Marshall made the tackle. Well, we're looking forward to next Sunday's CFL Western Final. Ron Lancaster, Leo Cahill, John Wells, and I will be there. You'll see that game on CBC television, and then 2 weeks from today, from Olympic Stadium in Montreal, all the excitement of Grey Cup 81. The game itself, plus a 90-minute pregame show, and of course during the week a look at the Grey Cup parade. You'll see all the excitement and participate on CBC television of Grey Cup festivities 1981. Don Sweet preparing to kick on 3rd down. 11:57 the time left in this football game. Graisley and Kirk are back for the 3rd down kick. Calvin Kirk trying to get outside, still on his feet. And he spins his way up to the 52. Well, it's going to be interesting now. Starkey is coming in. J.C. Watts was shaken up on that tremendous hit by Dave Dumars. And we understand that he is complaining of dizzy spells over at the Ottawa bench. So Kevin Starkey is going to quarterback the Ottawa Rough Riders.
Here's Calvin Kirk's return. They got the black shirts all around him trying to get him some blocking. He escapes the 1 tackle and uses just his own running ability to get the yards that he did get there.
That was a 16-yard run back by Kirk. Starkey looking for a receiver. He elects to go out of bounds on the far side of the field.
Good move right there. He had nobody open. Put that ball down and get out of bounds. If J.C. Watt's injured, I agree with the move. Otherwise, I think Watt needs to be in there right now. He's been in there the whole way. He has a feel for the ball game, and he's playing pretty well.
The only thing is, Ron, I've seen a couple of weeks ago George make the same move and change quarterbacks in the middle of the stream in a bad day against Calgary, and it worked out beautifully for him.
Well, he remembers that, too. That's why he's in there.
I think probably that's the reason.
Starkey swinging it out. Penalty flag goes down, and so does Reed, short of the 1st down at the 50. I think it may be a roughing call. Well, let's see now. Referee Blair Shallow will tell us.
Unnecessary roughness. Facing at Montreal number 75. 1st down.
Keith Gary the man charged with the unnecessary roughness.
There you see it right there. It was called, I guess, on Keith Gary when he came in there and made the play. It's a bad time to have something like that happen right now. As I said before, field position is going to determine who's going to win this football game. If Ottawa gets close enough, 3 points mean a lot here. That gets them a tie.
Starkey throwing for Gabriel. No, it's going against Montreal. Rough play against the Alouettes. The touchdown stands.
Well, Starkey rolls out. He fakes on the inside to Platt, rolls out with Belcher leading interference right there, and just a beautiful throw and an absolute fantastic catch again by Gabriel. And when Gabriel gets that ball, he's looking for that end zone and piles in there for the big touchdown.
For the first time since the opening quarter of this ball game, the Ottawa Rough Riders are in front. 10:32 is the time left in the game as Jerry Organ lines up for the conversion. It's 20-16.
Watch George Brancano on the sidelines here. He said, yeah. George is saying, I made the right move. Well, that's exactly what happened a couple weeks ago when he put another quarterback in there. It worked out for him. And Ronnie, as you said, he just reflected on that happening for him and working for him. So he said, let's take another chance on it. And George, you know, along with being a good coach, he's got to be one of the luckiest guys I've ever known.
Hey, it's better to be lucky than good.
You're right.
What's the old adage? You have to be lucky to be good and good to be lucky.
That's it. Well, as it turned out, great throw by Starkey. Brancano points to his head. A genius. He said, I didn't know I was that smart.
Well, the rough play penalty, the roughing the passer, tacked on to the kickoff. So Jerry Organ will hit this ball from the 50 of the Montreal Alouettes. George has put a few miles on that Ottawa bench this afternoon.
That's why they don't have any grass over there.
Don Vetro coming out from the end zone. He's buried at the 15. Jim Reed was the man who made the hit.
Jim Reed takes all those hits when he carries the ball. He finally got the opportunity to give one back.
Well, a lot of times those fullbacks are linebackers. He's coming up inside there and trying to break it, but this is a great hit in there. A collision when you see it right here by Reed. Look at that tackle.
The Alouettes at their own 15-yard line with 10 minutes remaining in the ball game. They trail by 4. Overstreet gets away from one, trying to get outside, and he'll have a first. No, he won't. He stopped at the 22 by Brazeley and Mitchell.
Tell you what I like about that Overstreet in the last couple games is when you really need something, it looks like he turns it on. I mean, he went with a lot of determination for that first down yardage that time. He's catching the football and just moves away from Brune, who's a pretty tough guy to move away from, then tries to outrun Brazeley on the outside with another man coming in there and trying to close him off. He still tries to make that first down.
Dalariva goes out of bounds with the first down for the Alouettes at the 27. There's also a penalty flag. I think it's against Montreal.
Oh, boy.
the crowd reaction, I think you're right.
I'll tell you, that's a bad break for Montreal right now because they were moving. And that De La Riva, Ron, he knows where those first down markers are, don't he?
Holding, Montreal, number 61.
That's Peyton Holden, number 61 for Montreal.
He must have been holding Greg Marshall, too, because Marshall was awful happy.
There's Peyton at right tackle there. De La Riva just sliding out to the outside right here. Right now, consciously, he knows where that first down marker is. He's looking for it. Comes in and gets the first down.
So now it's 2nd and 13. Johnson throwing over the middle, incomplete. Sovieta covering Peter De La Riva.
De La Riva went down and hooked in the zone. He had Billy Johnson coming from the outside into the same zone. If he had thrown a little higher over De La Riva's head, he'd hit Johnson right in the numbers.
There's what you're talking about right here, Ron. He just throws it right in here. And De La Riva normally would catch a ball like that, but he gets 2 hits in the back, one by Sovieta, and he just can't hold on to the football.
Don Sweet now kicking from his end zone. Fielded by Braisley. He's downed immediately at the 47. Gene Beliveau was the man who made the tackle. That was a kick of 35 yards by Don Sweet. And for Carl Braisley, a run back of just a couple of yards. He was shaken up on the play.
I'll tell you one thing, Art Darch, our spotter up here, has got to have penetrating eyes to see through that mud on those uniforms.
Braisley gets a punt, starts back inside. He takes a pretty good hit right straight in the thigh, and he hits the deck pretty good. He's having a little bit of trouble walking off the field over there.
Say, if he can't play, that'll be a loss for Ottawa. They'll go to work on that substitute in there.
Well, that's for sure. That corner's a tough place at the best of times.
Brancato opts to stick with Kevin Starkey, and why not? Starkey being chased by Hampton. He bounced it, intended for Avery. It will be 2nd and 10.
Okay, from this field position right here, Kevin Starkey wants to make sure that he keeps the ball away from danger. They're in a pretty good position right here, even if they're held, to kick it down and retain good field position.
He'd certainly like to get about 10 yards or so and then have to kick the field goal, because those 3 points would give him a 7-point lead. But the one thing he doesn't want is that interception right now. No turnover. Check Braisley out. What's up with him? He's all right. He's got so much mud on him.
Starkey throwing deep for Kirk. Knocked away. Good defensive play by Marshall.
Jimmy Marshall's a good corner. He can play back there. He had good position on Kirk all the way down the field, and Kirk had to be the one to break up the play.
Ron, you played with him out in Regina, and I know I had him over in Toronto also, and he's not only a fine football player, he's a very coachable young man, and it was just a great play. I mean, you know, you play run with Kirk down the sidelines, and there's only one guy, and there's 20 yards in between you and the next help. You gotta be big in order to make that play, and he did it.
I've seen him do that many times. He's a good one.
Well, we've been informed that Carl Braisley had a lot of that natural turf at Lansdowne Park kicked up into his face, and he had mud in his eye.
Here's mud in your eye.
Jerry Organ kicking from the 47.
He needs a good one here. He needs a good kick.
It's the biggest punt of the afternoon right here, as far as Ottawa is concerned.
He got a good one, trying to put it out of bounds. He does.
Great kick.
What were we saying before about Oregon coming through when the chips are down, being an old pro? What a beautiful kick that was.
I've lost my crown, my people, my fortune, but I can still look smart. And I do. In my smooth shirt from Aero, Look at this color, perfection, and it's specially designed to stay perfect. I even get my exact sleeve length. What quality? Aerosmooth, fit for a king at a price any ex-king can afford.
Aerosmooth, white and plain colors, just under $20.
You don't have to give up a fortune to look smart.
Well, this crowd at Lansdowne Park, a pro-Ottawa Rough Rider crowd, came to life in this fourth quarter. Strong defensive play. And then a good pass from Starkey to Gabriel. Good play by Overstreet.
What a catch. That was a desperation pass that time by Johnson, and Overstreet just scooped it. It's plays like this when the ball game is over that you reflect on and say that might have done us a lot of good. Look at that. Reached out there and gloved it, Ron, with one hand and almost broke the seam here.
He sure did. He had blockers in front of him. If the one guard hadn't tripped over the good block, they would have made the block on Bruin and he'd have got a lot of yards.
Nice place to get a 5-yard gain down there.
2nd and 5 for Montreal. 7 minutes remaining in the ball game. They'll get a first down here. LaSalle is across the 20 to the 22. Stopped by William Mitchell.
Well, if Montreal comes out of this end and goes down and does something, they'll certainly deserve it, because I'll tell you, they had their backs to the wall down there in a very difficult part of the field with these muddy field conditions and everything, and being behind in the ball game. So if they come out of this thing, they deserve to win.
Anytime you have a 4-point game in a playoff, that's just what you want. Everything's going to come down to late in the ball game. Two teams of equal ability playing out there today, and who knows what's going to happen in the last 6 minutes now.
Got a good game, Ron.
First down from the 21. Johnson throwing to the sidelines, incomplete. Sutton was all over Johnson, and it will be 2nd and 10.
Johnson's a pro, too. I think a lot of guys would have complained about that. It looked like he might have been pulled away from the ball at least a little bit prematurely, but you know, it was close enough that he doesn't want to complain about it. He's saving his energy to get back in that huddle and do something good on the next play.
2nd and 10 is a big play right now. They need it with this much time left.
6 minutes now remaining in the ball game. 20 to 16. Ottawa leads.
Got a gun in the hook zones here, don't you? There it is.
Scott has got it. Out to the 42. Big 2nd down play.
Johnson's showing a lot of poise in there. That's the Johnson to Johnson combination in there, but showed a lot of poise in there. Watch that rush come right at him, right down in his face there, and look down in there, and the white shoes just turned to the inside right there. No, it's Scott. I'm sorry, Scott that made the catch in there. But both of them concentrating on each other, knowing how important it was to get that first down and getting it.
5:13, the time left in the game. Down the sidelines, incomplete, and I think Johnson may have just been throwing that one away.
Man was covered all the way. I think he threw it out of bounds.
Well, they're having some pretty good success swinging to those backs still out of the backfield, and might be a nice place on that first down that time, Ron, to either swing to one of those backs or throw another screen out there.
I think they'd been thrown to the backs, and this time they decided to have him go one-on-one with the guy down the field, and they was hoping to get a linebacker on him, but Ottawa was in his zone in the corner out there. Brazeley just stood there and waited for him to come.
That's discouraging, isn't it?
When you set something up the whole game and you tried and it doesn't work.
A 2nd down conversion, a key one in the ball game, perhaps right here. Johnson over the middle. Johnson's got it. First down at the 45. Well, when you think of Johnson & Johnson, you think of first aid supplies, but this might be a rather effective Band-Aid for the Montreal Alouettes.
Oh. I'll tell you, he's got a lot of time in here. They did an excellent job with the offensive line there, blocking for him. But look at this concentration down there. You see a lot of passes like that thrown down there.
He never saw this one come down because as soon as he threw it, he was thrown down on the ground himself.
A gain of 23, 3:59 left in the ball game. 1st and 10, Montreal at the Ottawa 45. Trying to set up the screen to Overstreet. He fought his way down to the 37.
Boy, this has got the markings of a real finish, Ron.
He had the blockers in front of him. Ottawa reacted well defensively, just a big collision, and Overstreet just kind of with his overpowering running got through for some yardage.
That was kind of shades of last week when they threw that same screen pass against the same team, and he busted in there and scored a touchdown.
Roland Mangold, got made a good block for him that time on Larry Brune, but there was a heck of a collision in there.
2nd and 3. The Alouettes in that short yardage offense. Overstreet breaks one tackle. Takes on another tackler. Keeps on going. What a job by Overstreet.
That's the play of the game right there, I think, as far as I'm concerned. He needed it. He had to get it, and he busted 2 tackles, stayed on his feet, and got it. Now, that's what we've been talking about.
2:56 the time left in the game. We'll be back with the Montreal first down play after this.
With Firestone tires on your car, you benefit from a world of experience. Experience in engineering radial tires that deliver long, low-cost, fuel-saving mileage. Tires with dependable strength and stamina that comes from advanced design and careful quality control. Tires that meet the needs of the 80s. From Firestone.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome AC and the Delcos.
Spark plugs and batteries, whatever your tune-up needs. Please don't break my heart with just any old part. It should be Delco, AC Delco, AC Delco. Shooby-doo-wop-bop, shooby-dooby-doo-wop, AC Delco, D-E-L-C-O.
Well, that was only an 8-yard run by David Overstreet, but I'm going to suggest that might be the best run of the season by this much maligned back.
He just hits in here, and he knows he's met head on there. I don't get the number right there, but he breaks the tackle there. He breaks another tackle and runs over the top of, I think, Brune, and makes that first down. What a big play at this time of the game.
You saw the reaction of Keith Gary at the bench. It's 1st and 10, Montreal at the 30. LaSalle fighting down to the 22-yard line.
Now, what do you do here, Ron? Do you stay on the ground? Do you go short with your passing game and try to play for the 3 points, or do you go for the big one and try to score? Here's LaSalle right here going off tackle, using his eyes well and turning it upfield, making sure that he's holding onto that ball.
I'll tell you what, Leo, I think you run the football again. They've got something going. They've made some big catches downfield for him to keep drives alive. Both Scott and Billy Johnson made them. That time they got 8 yards on first down. You've got to get that first down. This is the time you test that offensive line. Let's get them out of there.
All right, let's see what they're going to do here.
Short yardage offense again. Overstreet will be close. Glassford made the tackle. George Brancato heads for the ice bucket again.
If they go by the sticks, they're about not quite a half a yard short, maybe 2 feet short here. There's only one play here. Down blocking there on the left side. Hole opens up right there, and he stays on his feet pretty well. It's a good reaction by Glassford, though, to make that tackle.
John Glassford made a big play because it looked like he had a lot of room.
That's right.
This could be the big play.
You got a quarterback sneak this. You got to just go in there and get it yourself.
No, they didn't make it. They did not make it. Another defensive play by the Ottawa Roughriders. They tried to go with David Overstreet. I'm inclined to agree with you, Leo. I think Johnson should have taken it himself.
You just can't make an exchange right here at this stage of the ball game. You got to go. There's Glassford that makes the play from his middle linebacker spot. And that's the biggest play for him all year. That's a great play for him.
That could be the biggest play of his career, and that's unbelievable for a guy that's never been in the middle. And boy, he came through there, and he really stuck him.
Ron, you got a quarterback sneak that one, even if your name is Lancaster. You got a quarterback sneak that one.
You got to get it.
1:56 left in the ball game. Ottawa staying on the ground. They get maybe half a yard. David Overstreet, who made such a vital run.
Well, it certainly wasn't his fault. He didn't have a chance to even get to the line of scrimmage. Glassford just came right up in the middle there and penetrated and made the tackle 3 yards into the backfield.
Ottawa trying to use as much time as possible on that clock. Seconds ticking away. 1:40 now left in the game.
Boy, I'm surprised to see this. I am absolutely shocked.
For Kurt. He can't catch up with him.
That's not a bad play, Leo. I mean, I know you disagree with it, but you're going to throw the ball far enough downfield to a one-on-one situation. He threw the ball farther than Oregon has punted it today. If it's intercepted, they got him down deep, but you take the chance.
All right, let me ask you.
Now, Frank Catto doesn't like it either.
Well, let me ask you.
So far, I'm 0 for 2.
Yeah, well, let me ask you this, Coach. What if it's intercepted and the guy breaks away from the guy that's trying to be catching the ball and has his back turned to him and runs it back about 40 yards?
You never think negatively. It's got to be positive. You know he can beat him.
Yeah, well, they're going to get another chance, it looks like, here.
You also must remember the clock stops with that incomplete pass.
I'm wrong. Okay, okay.
Penalty flag. Time clock violation.
That's 5 more yards that the clock wasn't even running on.
I'll tell you, this is a great football game and a great finish. And 1 minute and 31 seconds is a lot of time, as you know, Ron.
Oh. Time count violation.
Now, what do you do here?
Ottawa.
They're down on about the 12 or 14-yard line. Do you go in there and try to put some pressure on Oregon, who's been kicking that ball bad, or do you play it safe and say, don't get close to him for fear that you might contact him, and let's put on a return?
Whatever I say, I'm wrong. I'm going to say they set up the return.
I'm sure that they will. Well, they set the outside 2 guys, Ron, but they did set up the return.
They'll get this ball in good field position. And it's improved with that return to the 30-yard line. Well, we have 1:20 left in the ball game, and the Alouettes are in position. They are 30 yards away.
White Shoes Johnson is a bit of a gambler right there. I thought he'd just grab it and walk out of bounds.
There
Frank
goes.
Catto better get 2 handfuls of ice. You know that?
George went to the ice bucket that time. Boy, this is an exciting finish. No matter who wins this ball game, it was a great game.
A punt of 25 by Jerry Organ, a run back of 10 by Billy Johnson.
Your whole season comes down to 1 minute and 20 seconds. I tell you, that's all you can ask for. It's tough on those guys on the field, but the fans love it, Don. I think it's easy, too.
What do you think Frank Cush might be thinking over in Hamilton?
He still doesn't know who to prepare for.
Over the middle, they can't know. The ball is fumbled by Scott. They get it back.
They get it back. It's caught and recovered. There's no question he had it long enough. Oh, George now is going back over the ice bucket.
Scott had control, and McMahon covered up.
Well, this Montreal team has shown a lot of poise. He's back there, and he throws it down the middle, and there's all kind of black shirts in there, but he finds Scott. Scott fumbles the ball, and it's picked up. Who picked it up in there, Ron? McMahon picked it up. Oh, that was a big recovery right there.
1 minute and 4 left in the ball game. The draw play with Overstreet. Down to the 7-yard line.
That was a good call right there. I think everybody expected Johnson to go up top again. This time he just runs a draw to Overstreet, and he's got the acceleration to do it.
It is right there. Glassford gets over there. Doesn't quite get enough on him to make the tackle, and Soviet is over there also. But as you say, Ron, at this stage of the game, it's a safe play, and it's a good play as far as deception is concerned, too, because they would be looking for something up top.
Johnson ran over to the bench for some help. 41 seconds left in the ball game. Overstreet again, and he's stopped. It was William Mitchell who made the tackle at the 10-yard line. Johnson is trying to call a timeout. And he finally informs the officials that the Montreal Alouettes want a timeout with 36 seconds remaining in the ball game. It will be 3rd down Montreal when we come back.
I don't care what Paris does.
Excuse me, sir. I'm a UNICEF representative.
Oh, yeah.
I wondered what you would like to donate this year.
I give it the office, you understand?
This is the office.
Well, that's what I said.
You'd be helping children that don't have clean water, food, medical care, even a warm place to sleep.
Oh, that's terrible. Who handles their account?
Well, no one, of course. These children have no future unless...
I could set them up a small pension fund.
But they have nothing.
Why are they coming to me?
They need your help.
Make an appointment, will you, and I'll sit these kids down and tell them the facts of life. Let me tell you, little lady, the one thing I do not do is to pass the buck.
I'll say.
Millions of children all over the world lack clean drinking water and proper medical care.
UNICEF could supply this by 1990 with your help. So please give generously.
Excuses won't fill empty stomachs.
Well, it's 3rd and 4, Montreal. Johnson in the end zone, incomplete. That's William Morgan. And is that man excited at the Ottawa bench? George Brancato trying to offer words of advice to Kevin Starkey for these final 32 seconds. A dejected Ken Johnson heads to the Montreal bench.
Well,
that ball was there.
It sure was. George is telling him right now, just hold on to that ball and don't do anything but fall down on it and get some protection. This is the play that ends the season right here. He gets back and he puts it right in there in the end zone, and we can't see it right there, but he had... We get another... No, we didn't see it yet.
30 seconds remaining.
Well, it's a ball that could have been caught, but he was certainly jostled in there by about 3 different people. Hardy and Sobieta were both on him.
George Brancato talking to Jeff Avery with 20 seconds left.
Nobody feels worse than McMahon does, I'm sure.
"11 seconds remain now. That pretty well tells the story at the Alouette bench.
There's nothing worse than that feeling right there, Don. You're sitting on the sidelines, 10 seconds left, there's nothing you can do about it, and the clock's running.
I'll tell you, when they made a gallant effort on that thing, taking that thing all the way down the field twice, and Otto was just as gallant stopping them on 2 occasions.
And the Ottawa Roughriders will move on to the Eastern Final as they defeat the Montreal Alouettes 20-16. George Brancato accepting congratulations from his players as he heads out onto the playing field. Ottawa coming back after trailing throughout most of the ball game. And we'll return with our post-game show after we pause for this message.
A message from the Ontario Federation of Labor.
When you buy a home, a car, or luxury items, you shop carefully to get good value. So when you insure them, it makes sense to compare insurance values too.
An insurance broker makes it easy.
He shops the market for you to find the right coverage from the right insurance company at the right price. Only an insurance broker can give you that kind of choice. So get your insurance from a member of the Insurance Brokers Association. You'll get all the choice in the world.
I've been a United Way volunteer for several years now, so I know about the wide range of services that really depend on United Way. Our seniors often require services like Meals on Wheels, visiting nurses, and transportation to help them live full and comfortable lives. United Way services even provide an opportunity for them to get out and meet new friends. We all feel good when we know our seniors are getting the help they need. And thanks to you, they're getting it. The United Way.
This was the standard in Canadian football, and afterwards, this beer was a popular choice. The shape of things changed, and changed. Today, there's a new look, and the tradition grows because OV's great taste is always popular.
The time is now, the move is on. Just say OV, OV for me.
The tradition grows, so just say OV. Oh, yeah.
A tremendous finish to this ball game, 20-16. The Ottawa Rough Riders winning it. In a game such as this, there are any number of individual standouts. You could go through the entire roster, picking out players on both sides. For example, the big hit by John Glassford on that third down gamble. And then some of the performances by people like J.C. Watts, who quarterbacked the club through 3 quarters, and then Kevin Starkey, who came on in relief and unloaded that touchdown pass.
That touchdown pass to Gabriel, and who better to catch the ball than Gabriel? I mean, he just kept his eyes on the ball and got it in the end zone. And as you say, we picked the game stars before Glassford made those 2 big saves, and he's got to get a lot of consideration for the play that he's made.
And then you talk about that great run by David Overstreet on that third down gamble that produced an 8-yard gain. And now our Carling O'Keefe game stars. The game stars this afternoon, Tony Gabriel of the Ottawa Rough Riders, the offensive game star. Gabriel with that touchdown reception, the go-ahead major for Ottawa. And defensively, the Carling O'Keefe Sports game star, defensive back Billy Hardy. Hardy had a big afternoon. He was knocking down passes and making some very key tackles on behalf of the Riders.
He certainly did. He pursued from that inside, from a safety position, and made a lot of big stops and tough open field tackles that he made too. But there's no question that it has to go to Gabriel again. I mean, that catch was the one that really turned the tide, Don. No question about it.
Well, Tony Gabriel helped the Ottawa Rough Riders come from behind, and the momentum in this game seemed to switch a couple of times. In the second quarter, it went in Montreal's favor, and then in the third quarter, at the end of it, it worked in favor of Ottawa. Next week, we'll present the Western Final as the Edmonton Eskimos host either Winnipeg or British Columbia. The final score this afternoon, Ottawa 20, Montreal 16.
CFL 81 has been brought to you by Canadian Pacific, owned by Canadians working for Canadians. By Firestone Canada, maker of the 721 Fuel Fighter Radio. And by Carling O'Keefe, brewers of OV and the Carlsberg family.
A number of people responsible for bringing you CFL football during the course of the season on CBC television. These are some of them, and we'd like to thank them, the technical crew, for the fine job that they have done over the last month and a half of this 1981 season. And I'd also like to remind you that Ron Lancaster, Leo Cahill, John Wells, and I will be in Edmonton next Sunday afternoon as CBC Television presents the Western Final from Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton, involving the Edmonton Eskimos and either the Winnipeg Blue Bombers or the British Columbia Lions. We also invite you to be with us 2 weeks from today for all the excitement of Grey Cup 81 from Olympic Stadium in Montreal. And now for our entire CBC Sports crew, I'm Don Whitman saying good afternoon from Lansdowne Park in Ottawa.
This is CBC.
At Hector M. Chisholm & Company, every customer's order is serviced individually, immediately, and with a very special expertise. Using the latest technology, every order is processed in a matter of seconds, from the boardrooms to the trading desk, from the trading desk to our booths on the floor of the Toronto Stock Exchange, where the experience of 5 generations is at work every trading hour of every trading day. Put yourself in the best place to be in the stock market, on the inside, with Hector M. Chisholm & Company.
Stepping up tonight, stepping out in style, dressing up tonight, it's gonna feel alright. In a tuxedo wedding gown, moon starts shining down when you look your best. It's gonna be alright on a special night when you look just right.